Greetings, I'm Bairnt, and welcome to Meet Me at the Table. Today we are going to begin our playthrough of S.H.E.O.L or S.H.E.O.L. I'm not exactly, there's two different pronunciations. One of it is in Hebrew, which I believe I guess I should say definition is something about how the stillness of darkness after death, or the abode of the dead, is kind of what this word means. Of course, in this game, it has a bunch of dots in between it, so it's actually an acronym, and they say the acronym is Shadow Hive Edge of Limits. So that is what this means, but I will be pronouncing it S.H.E.O.L this entire video if anybody wants to know. That's the two different pronunciations I found. I'm excited to get to this. This is going to be really cool. We're going to go through the first mission in the campaign, so there is going to be a little bit of spoilers, but of course it is the first mission of the campaign. We might do a second one as well, depending on how much I'm able to show off in the game on our first mission. I have not played it. This is going to be a super cool thing because I've never played this game other than the prototype that I received back when the Kickstarter was being launched. So this is going to be a really new experience for me with some great miniatures, great story, and this game has an absolutely fantastic lore set for it. It's built after this darkness comes over the earth, and it creeps around the moon, and it comes over to and covers the whole moon, then it kind of drips onto the earth, and it's our lab. We're the last people that are still alive inside this land. There's different small settlements that are going to be found, and one of them is going to be right here. We're going to be living through this. It's going to be our citadel where our Team Nova is, which is going to be the group of characters that we play. They're all part of Team Nova. They are the scouts that are going to be performing all these missions inside of this fantastically set world. This is a broad adventure game with some tower defense plus very awesome lore built into the mission structure, and you need to complete objectives that are going to unlock other missions, and it's just going to be super fun. I'm really excited to do this. This Kickstarter was a lot of fun when I did the prototype, and now I'm going to be able to experience the full game. Let's get right to it, and if you're excited to see S.H.E.O.L, then I need you to meet me at the table. The first thing we're going to set up is our Citadel board. And in this area we have facilities. These are going to be unlocked as we play through it. These are where we're going to be putting faction tokens that we can carry over. And in the middle of the board is where we're going to be placing all of our different developments that we were able to do during different places. We're going to put all our districts, the new districts we are able to unlock in here. Up here is going to be our development track, and the final track down here is our prosperity track. If this ever reaches 0, we have lost the game. That's one of the lose conditions for the actual game and campaign for that matter. On top of that, we're going to put all of our tokens over here that we may need. These are Umbra tokens. They're going to be currency as we play through the game. These are our faction tokens. We have to get some of these and we're able to return with them. I believe they're going to go on here. We'll see how this goes during the playthrough. Some of the missions are going to be a little bit different than being able to bring them back. They might be used for other things, but normally you're going to bring them back and be able to use them during your development step of the actual game. The next thing we have is our 3 decks of cards. These are the exploration deck, the event deck, and the status deck. As we explore, we're going to be drawing these cards when you find those areas on the map. And then if you ever decide to explore inside of these areas, you're going to be drawing these event cards. And notice how this has a TA and a TA1. These particular two things will go together. So whenever you find one of these cards and you have to do an event, you're going to go through this deck and find the ones that correspond with the actual letters on this card. And you're always going to start with number 1, and then you might do number 2, and then if you do it a third time and there isn't one, then that's it. You can't explore these anymore. We also have our status deck over here. We don't want any of those cards. They're all Bad News City. That's going to be like things like wounds, corruption. There's going to be incapacitated. So these could potentially happen to us. Hopefully not, because they're going to be detrimental to our team. Underneath the board, we have, again, some decks of cards. The first one, our event deck, which is going to trigger if we decide if we have to deal with an event, which are going to be these tokens found on our map. If we ever cross one of those, we're going to have to deal with it. These are all going to be different patterns, and they're going to be based on the type of place you find. For example, if we found this place, it would be one of these, and you're going to draw that particular base pattern right there. The 3 decks are the Twilight. We also have the Forgotten Lands, and then the last one we have is going to be our Shadowlands printer deck. And I believe each one of these is going to have different things in them, and they may even be better as you go up this track, or maybe these are the best ones, these are the worst. I don't know, we'll find out as we play the game. The final thing we have is our light stream bag. In this bag is going to be all the different light stream tiles we have. We're going to give this a good old shake here. We're going to draw out 5 of these. These are going to be the first 5 that we have access to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here they are. We'll put these back. And when we do our first turn, we'll be able to use any of these we can during the plan step, I believe is what it's called. But I'll show you all that when we start the playthrough. So here are the different ones. This one's got a little thing on it. Perfect. Just like that. And these are the different light streams that we can get. Notice there's some symbols inside some of these light streams. Those are just some benefits that we can take advantage of when we're on time, moving through that, or part of that tile when we're on it. The next thing we're going to be setting up is our scouts. These are the 4 scouts I've decided to use for this game. These are the ones that do come with the base game. The other ones are part of expansions, and I just think it'd be better to start with the core guys. For once we get going though, maybe we'll switch those out. On this, you're going to see exactly what all of these characters start with. The light shield deck is constructed right here. We have the archetypes and what they're best known for. We have their starting weapon, their starting lantern, and their difficulty when actually learning to play the character. And notice all these say easy, except that one, it's medium. So hey, what do you know? That's pretty perfect if you've never played the game before. We're going to be going down easy street here. The first character I want to look at is the Pioneer. What I've done is I've set our abilities up here. We start with 3 actions. Our speed is set at 3. It's located right down here. If we ever want to move more than our speed value, we can pay Lux to be able to move 1 more space for each Lux we pay. Now remember, Lux is not only our life force, it's also what we're going to do in order to illuminate and be able to move around the board, and also it's going to be used when we're trying to attack. So Lux is super important, and maybe moving real fast might be the way to go. Who knows? We'll have to see how it plays out. I do have my miniature. It is right here. I'm sorry I haven't gotten these all painted up. They will be painted by the next time we play. I just haven't had a chance to do it yet. I've been painting another game at this time, so I apologize they're not painted up. We also are able to put down a 2 Lux vials. Whenever we run out, we'll flip this over and then remove it. So we actually have 3 uses of these 8 vial here. And that's located right here, how many times we're able to fill it. This shows us how many light shield cards we start with. This right here shows us our corruption value. If we ever take more than the corruption worth of hits, then we have to flip our card over and deal with the consequences. Notice I have less light shield cards, but I do get a different superpower down here. I guess you call it superpowers. These happen whenever you roll a critical on the die. It says choose any light stream from the bag and place it on your lantern pattern. So remember that bag I showed you? You can grab anything out of there in order to place it down, or you grab one from the bag and place it down there. Where this one, if I am able to roll a critical, I'm able to take a light stream tile from the pool and place it using your light pattern. So this is better to stay uncorrupted. That's the deal. That's our character here. Next we have our lantern, and we also have our weapon. Our lantern you see right here during a plan action, which is this symbol right here. We're able to gain 2 of those tiles from the light pool, and then if we want to use an illuminate action, we can place them down, or we can expose shadows or other things. It's going to cost us 2 Lux to gain those 2 from the pool, where it's going to cost us 1 Lux to place them down. Down here, this is an interesting part of the game, is you can choose to overload the lantern if you wish to, and then at that point you'll gain 3 instead of 2 from the pool. It's going to cost us the 2 Lux, but you're going to have to roll the die, the overload die, and you potentially could break your lantern. And if you do, you have to flip it over. Once it's flipped over, you're going to have to pay the action and the Umbra in order to use this weapon again, or I should say lantern. Both of them can be destroyed, because as you can see down here, there is a corruption, or sorry, an overload value for this gun. The gun has this is its attack pattern. Notice they're gray. That means that you have to choose a particular spot. If the gun was something like this, then it would be able to hit everything in that area. This is the amount of damage it does during the action. This is how much it's going to cost in Lux in order to fire that gun. And like I said down here, here is the overload value. You're able to do 3 damage instead of 2. It still only costs 1, but you'll have to roll that overload die and potentially damage the weapon. This is its durability down here. They both have 2. That's our Pioneer. We'll move on to our other characters, but oh wait, these are our tokens. We get to put these down on any of the objectives or potentially mission things that we have during it. We'll figure that out as we go. And these are our light shield cards. These are going to be unique to each of our characters. We start with 1 superpower card, and that's going to be even more superpowered the more powered up our Citadel is. Then each person has a set deck of cards that I showed you at the beginning. This symbol here shows that you can only play it on your turn. On the scout's turn, it is able to be used either for what is written here, which would be during an attack action, I can reroll the scout die, always keep the new result, or I could burn this card to help me pay 1 Lux less for an illuminate action. So instead of paying 1 to put my tiles down, I could play this card over in the discard pile, and then I wouldn't have to pay anything. Now, of course, some of them are used during both phases of the game, the shadow phase or the scout phase, and then you'd be able to play this card for this particular down here. Of course, these also help with the plan action, and I believe there's many different cards, but there is a set number of these, and we'll see how these play throughout the game. There's a lot of different cards here, so it'll be interesting to see what we all get as we play through it. I'm going to shuffle these up, and we'll draw these when we actually start our mission. Right now, we're just setting up the game. This is our second character. This character starts with the same amount of lux as that character, but notice it has a little bit faster speed value down here, and it could get more movement out of its lux. This character is built more for moving and around and everything. Its two symbols are dexterity and melee, which is why this character has a light spear, and he or she is holding it right here. It's absolutely awesome, and it's a her, and it's absolutely amazing. I like these minis a lot. These minis are really cool. I feel really bad they're not painted. They will be painted though, I promise. Again, this one can only attack right adjacent, but look, it does 3 damage, and if you decide to overload this thing, you get to make an extra attack after you do that. Of course, you could damage it, and here's the lantern. The lantern is not as powerful as the other one, the pioneers, but it has very similar stats to that, and we'll see how this all now. We can take 1 as opposed to 2. So every character does have advantages and disadvantages in certain spots. So this one can move really fast, but it's be hard to illuminate things, and it can only attack in melee. Next, we have our big guns. This is the Cyclops. This guy has a ton of damage potential. The problem is this guy can't move very fast, only got 2, but he can use 1 lux to move 2. So he's still moving about the same as most of our characters, but it's just going to cost him a little bit more to get going. His gun torch isn't the greatest, but check out this weapon. This weapon is phenomenal. It does 2 damage, and it can attack everything in a straight line. He does start with the same amount of lux that everybody else does. He starts with 8 and 2 vials, and he only has 2 speed, and everybody gets 3 actions. The Breathless is the last character, which is good at Lux Arm and Camouflage, which is what these 2 things here mean. Starting with the same amount of Lux, the same actions, 1 more speed than our Pioneer, and 2 more than our Cyclops, but the same as our Scout type character, our Dexterity character. This is going to, let's see here, this has a flare launcher and a beam rifle. Notice that both of these are not going to affect the square right in front of this character, so we kind of have to set this character up a little bit. And the special ability here when you roll a critical is deal 2 more damage. That's fantastic. Our Cyclops is one that you can draw 2 light shield cards. And our dexterity character, the Maenad, is you can move to an adjacent space and attack again without paying its lux. It's actually a really good thing here. Adjacent attack without spending any lux. That sounds absolutely phenomenal. Let's make that happen. That's our 4 characters. Let's go continue our setup. The next thing we're going to set up is the mission itself. I'll read you the actual story behind it once we finish setting up the mission, and then we'll begin our play. So the first thing we do is stick our base right in the middle there. Then if you've noticed, there's already a predetermined set of components out on the board and ready to go. This up here shows the 2 lands that should be available to be gained during this, and it just happens to be placed out there. Some might not be placed out there, might come out later, but they are going to be the ones used. These, if you ever have to place a random one, you're never going to have those during your particular mission. They're going to be sitting there. These are the components you're going to need. You're going to need your Coral Bones events and your Twilight Lands, 2 of them. And it does say the 2 Twilight Lands you're supposed to have available are these 2. So those are the 2 out there. Of course, they are randomly placed. Next, we have what our blips, health, and attack value is going to be. Then it shows you the shadows that should be inside your shadow bag and any additional health and damage they should do based on the mission itself. The last part is our special rules and notes. It does say this is the first mission and acts as a tutorial to help you learn the basics of S.H.E.O.L. Since there are no singularities or shadows in play at the start, there's no shadow movements or generation during the first shadow phase. Now that we've looked at that, we can set up our shadow board. We're replacing 2 red tokens here to indicate that these blips are all going to have 2 health and 2 damage when they attack. Now remember, once blips are shown, then they become the actual shadows they are. These are going to be where our threat cards are going to go, so you're going to grab all the threats that are going to be for your mission. This particular mission only has 2, a 1-4, and 1 in this one. They both have mission 1 on them. So when you go to mission 2, you're also going to use the same mission cards, because these are this one's going to be used all the way up through mission 4. Then you're going to discard this one and not use anymore, but you're going to be adding more and more cards to this as you go and removing some, therefore making the game a little bit more harder, and it actually keeps up with its difficulty based on how you're doing. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place down one of these black markers to indicate the round number we're on as we go through it, and this could affect different things that happen during the mission. According to our mission, these are going to be the three shadows that we're going to be dealing with eventually during our play here. Each one of them does something a little bit different when they are revealed. They all have different health values, they all do different amount of damage, and they all have a different attack pattern and have a different critical hit. So it's really cool that as you're revealing these blips, you're not going to know exactly what you have. Would it be good to reveal this lurker close to you? Probably not, because it does say lurker moves one space toward the scout who revealed it, and in range puts one break marker on the scout's lantern or weapon. Oh, that sounds terrible. So we don't want to find him really close to us. So those are the shadows that are in play for this mission. The last thing we have is our set of mission cards that we have for our first mission. They are right here. We'll reveal the first one after we read through exactly what we're doing. So let's begin by reading the actual mission we're going to be doing. Now, it's important to read this mission and lore because it's going to be coming up inside the mission deck as well. It says right here, first level of the Citadel, Refugee District 422, cycle, night 345, time 934 because that's military time, and I love it because I'm a nurse, I use it all the time. Darkness, cold, the pungent smell of ash. You can feel them seeping through the walls that stand tall around the edges of the plateau, creeping into the dirty streets and along the pylons of the subnet of the Umbra smugglers along the cables. When you go out into the lands of S.H.E.O.L, the darkness enters your bones, and from then on, you can never be free of it. It is a baptism of blood and terror, a crown of black thorns on your bruised armor. You are scouts, you are cursed. The stairs of the Citadel slum dwellers, like those of prostitutes draped languidly against the ventilation grids, are full of disgust. If your handheld SPI communication device could intercept their whispers, it would quickly become saturated with hatred. You turn into an alleyway that smells of fried food and biofuel. An old man in rags next to a pile of dismantled droids is begging for a few drops of Lux. His eyes are sunken from the abuse of infinity, the dissociative drug that comes from the machine vision systems. He approaches, and one of you roughly pushes him aside. You haven't got time for this. You walk on, your footsteps shattering the light from the bulb lamps reflected in the shiny puddles. You find the district chapel squeezed between the red brick house and the maintenance system column. The luminary who administers it is vigorously cleaning a stencil-sprayed coral paint design. The monk's sponges is impregnated with some mysterious substance, and as he works, you intermittently glimpse the face framed by long, frizzy hair of Somberfield Shane, and his motto, "Redraw the Circle," written in white under the image. "Light forbid," the monk mutters breathlessly. "The exiles will destroy the Citadel." Then he spots you and immediately looks embarrassed. He realizes there are exiles in your group, and, therefore, that you have nothing against them. "I'm sorry, no offense I meant," he says, dropping his sponge into the bucket and smoothing his robe, trying to look presentable. You notice that his garments look faded and are coming unstitched. Clearly, the monk isn't faring any better than the district's other inhabitants. "We saw your request," you say. "Yes, I called for a team almost 30 nights ago," the monk complains. "I was beginning to think no one was coming." "We can only follow official orders. If it was so urgent, you could have gone down to the FREF or hired some common mercenaries," you reply brusquely. "How much are you paying?" The monk leads you into the chapel. Although you knew it would be nothing like the bright churches you can find on the second and third level, you certainly weren't expecting this, a loft studio with broken armchairs and crooked steps. Only sign of religious activity in an altar is in the center of the room with a female statue representing the light. The monk retrieves a vial from a hiding place under the altar, an votive alcove with holographic flowers in front of it. "It isn't much," he says, pouring a couple of centiliters of Lux into your flask, "but we are getting less and less in the way of donations from up above, and the people are hardly able to give us anything." "That's okay. It's enough," you say, weighing it. "Thank you. The members of my flock have worked hard to get these few drops together. You know how hard it is here in the slums. Here, take this as well. It's a special blessing from me." With a great ceremony, he hands you an image of Father Alm Sunji, the luminary saint. "I know that this is extra work for you and a little value to you," the monk goes on, "but for my little community, it is so important to get prayer amulets to the outlying settlements. We didn't know the missionaries were still active. We never stop bringing light into the darkness. Our amulets are of spiritual help to all those who believe in the eternal light. Finally, he hands you a sealed container. Please, leave it at the settlement's temple without opening it. The luminary monks there will take care of the rest. What are the coordinates? You ask, cutting him short. I will transfer them straight to your SPIs. SPI, base of the plateau, the REEF, Scouts General HQ, communication. As agreed by the engineer responsible for the Umbra Extractor Control and Maintenance Program, your team is required to go directly to Gamma 2 Extractor and check it is functioning. Any damage or formation of coral bone structures must be reported. As agreed between the Scout Corps and the Luminari, you will take care of delivering the votive artifact entrusted to you. It must be delivered undamaged to the settlement in Sector M5. Preserve the light. So now that we have our mission, we are going to go forth and see how it goes. Let's start the game by placing down our characters and getting some actions going and have some fun. Let's start our mission by revealing our first card and see what we have to do. It says the Umbra Extractor is located in a nearby settlement. Effect. Each scout gains 2 Umbra. So once we complete our objective, we're going to have that effect. Discover the land in H15. And then at the completion, we're going to reveal B and discard this card. Notice it says discard. You're going to keep on going through these mission cards until you actually come to a victory card. Once you do that, then the mission is over. This game is played over the series of 2 rounds. We have the Shadow phase and we have the Scout phase. The first one is the Shadow phase, so we start by increasing the menace, move the black marker to the next position on the threat track, and of course, sadly, it doesn't say that it doesn't happen on the first turn. We're not going to do it on the first turn. Also, there may be things in the game based on threat cards or mission special effects or something that are going to things are going to take place during the increased menace phase. The next one is reveal threats. If you are playing with 1 or 2 scouts, skip this phase on odd numbers. Each turn except the first, draw a new threat card and place it in the leftmost space. Applying its effects, if it is occupied, shift all the previous threats to the right. If the rightmost goes out of the shadow board, discard it. So there's only 2 for this mission, so we're not going to be seeing that in effect. But as these get pushed down, they will be removed from this board, and if they do, any effects that those are doing will no longer take place. The next part of this has to talk about you controlling the Overlord, the Heralds, and the Shadows. Now, sadly, none of these are going to be taking place. We don't have any Shadows out there yet. And then we're going to generate Shadows. We don't have any of those out there either because we do not have any Singularities, which is where the Shadows are going to spawn from. So, in essence, the Shadow phase for the first turn in the first mission is really not going to take place. There is one thing I should have done before we did the first Shadow phase, and that is we should have drawn up to our hand limit. So I do get to have these 3 light shield cards in my hand. The ones we have are Demolition. I can spend 1 Lux and 1 action to destroy a light stream tile within 3 spaces, dealing 2 damage to every enemy adjacent to the destroyed tile. That can be played both on my turn and on the Shadow phase, and also I can use as a plan action, I can spend 1 less Lux to be able to use this action here, which normally costs 2. The other cards we have are Light Stream Repositioning. Move a light stream tile within 3 spaces of you to another unoccupied space in your lantern pattern. That can be used here. Or, of course, I can use my Illuminate action for 1 less. And we have Luminous Convergence. Spend 1 Lux. Another scout connected to you by the light stream may take a light stream tile from the bag. Oh, that's going to be really good. I think all 3 of these cards are amazing. This is one of the coolest things about this game is these cards can be used for multiple things, and they're all very useful, which is pretty neat. So those are the cards that our character has for the Pioneer, has. Let's check out the other cards for our characters. We'll get a total of 4 light shield cards for this character and see what they get. They have a lot more diversity here. The first one is Safe Trail. Spend 1 Lux. Another scout connected to you by the light stream gains 3 movement points. And that can be used anytime during the scout phase. We have another Safe Trails. We have Dancer in the Dark. During an attack action, roll 1 extra scout die and choose the best result. That's going to be pretty good. Or, of course, I could use these for being able to spend 1 Lux more to move. Remember, I get 4 move automatically, but then I can pay a Lux to be able to gain these extra movements. So if I play this card, essentially this character can move 6 spaces for free without having to pay any Lux. The other one I have is Lightstream Surfer. Move without spending movement points to a Lightstream tile connected to you within 4 spaces. Oh my gosh, that's out of control. All right, those are the 4 cards for that character. Our Cyclops gets a total of 4 cards as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll see which ones they are. We've got Safeguard, spend 1 Lux. Another scout connected to you by a light stream, prevent 3 damage during an enemy attack. That's fantastic. And now notice it says connected to you by the light stream. The light stream can go all over the board, but as long as it's connected, this will take effect. And it'll be used on either turn, either during our turn or during the darkness turn, or shadow phase, sorry. We have Leatherback, spend 2 Lux and 1 action, prevent all damage until the next scout phase. You cannot perform actions or move during the current phase. Or I can use this to help with my Illuminate. We have Brothers in Arm. During an attack action, you deal +1 damage if there is another scout within 5 spaces. And we have another Leatherback. Those are the Cyclops' cards. Last but certainly not least, we have the Breathless. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see what cards the Breathless gets. The Breathless gets target acquisition, spend 1 Lux. When another scout connected to you by a light stream performs an attack, the attack hits an enemy as though it were illumination level was 2. And I'll explain how that kind of works as we go through the game. We have Relocating Technique. If you are attacked, you may move 1 space. You may prevent all damage if you are now outside the enemy's attack pattern. That's fantastic. The next one is the same thing. This up here means that I can discard a card to be able to gain a card. That's what that symbol means up there. Where most of them we've seen so far is just going to lower the Lux value of certain techniques or certain actions. This one is specifically able to let you discard a card and be able to gain a card instead. We have our board all set up in accordance to the way our mission has described it. We have our Citadel in the top, middle. Our characters are all there. And I do want to mention that the Citadel is considered 1 square no matter where you are from it. And notice these areas that are red here, these are going to be the way that our characters can go out. Anything that a light stream connects, like in these areas here, technically is not connected to the Citadel. They're only connected from the 2 spots that are kind of in the center area of each of the exits. These are our event points. These are the lands we were supposed to put out. And we also have those corals as well. Now you can get rid of these corals if you do an Illuminate action at it. Now if you ever have a stacked set of coral, you would remove 1 of them for each Illuminate action you do. But if there's more than 1 of them, you have to do it more than once to get rid of those. What these do is they prevent you from moving through, and they also are going to allow blips and shadows to be able to move over them. It's like a jump point. They can jump over these. So if there's one here and it had to move that way, it would actually jump all 3 of these, land right here, and then the next turn start walking down here. Because as shadows get to these middle points, it's no longer going to matter what you roll on the die if they go north or south or east or west. They're just going to keep on coming towards the Citadel, and whenever they hit it, it's going to do damage to the Citadel. And remember, if that Citadel hits 0, that is the end of the game. Now we'll move into the Scout phase. The Scout phase starts with our characters doing a production action. Each Umbra extractor produces the Umbra specified on the land card. Lux synthesizers produce 1 Lux each. Scouts connected to the facility can divide the Umbra and Lux among their reserves. Each Servoid regains the Lux specified on their Lux regen value. And also if there's any other events that would stay at the beginning of the Scout phase, they take place, that would happen at this point. Next, we recharge into our facilities. We don't have any of these. A lot of this stuff we're probably not going to be doing because it's stuff that will be happening more as you get further into the game. Then we'll refill our light shields. Each scout may discard a light shield card, then draw a light shield cards until their hand limit is reached. +1 if you're playing with 1 scout. We're playing with 4 scouts. Recharge movement, set the movement track to the value specified on the scout card, and of course we've already done that. Our characters are at exactly max of everything. Then we recharge our actions. For each point left on the action track, add a movement point on the movement track. Then set the action track to 3. Or 4 if you're playing with 1 or 2 scouts. This would take place, of course, if you didn't use all your actions. You can actually begin the game, or your next turn, being able to move more, which might be kind of nice. And the last thing we have now are scout actions, and each scout in any order can now act and move. And these are all the different types of actions that are, these are the effects that you may see on some of those cards that we saw. Let's flip it over, because on the back side, not on the back side, on the other card, we have our actions that our characters can do. We can either do lantern actions, we can do weapon actions, we can do land actions, and we can do other actions. Now, a lot of the other actions are free. Their stuff is like using items, accessories, and using anything from the districts that we have. We don't have any of those right now, but we might find some as we play. There also is an ability here where we can exchange. This is not considered an action. It's free during the scout actions. Subphase, if 2 scouts are adjacent to each other or are both inside the Citadel, they can freely exchange Umbra tokens and printer items they are carrying. Lux cannot be exchanged in this way. We'll gain printer items most like the time from actually exploring our land areas, and we'll also get Umbra from either cards from the event deck, also from the lands, and you can also get them if you're able to destroy shadows. Now, not blips. You don't get any if you destroy a blip. You only get them if you destroy shadows or any of the other enemies that are more powerful than that. Our lanterns allow us to do plan actions and illuminate actions. They're both found right here, plan action and illuminate action. If we decide to use this, we would be able to gain 2 light tiles from the reserve over there that we've already placed out, our pool of light tiles, and it would cost us 2 lux to do that. If we did an illuminate action, we're able to place those down in this area here. Now, you also can place down light tiles as you move across the board, as long as you have them in your reserve. So, for example, we will start with our Pioneer. He is going to do a plan action. He is going to spend 2 lux and gain 2 tiles from the pool. So for this, we'll just move our token down to a 6, and then we'll gain 2 tiles from the lux pool over here. We're going to gain these 2 tiles right here, and this one actually has a special symbol on it. This would allow us to gain +1 defense or 2 defense if we're fighting or getting attacked while we're on that particular light stream tile. And that plan action is going to be one of our actions, so we'll place that there. And then we'll just put our light tiles right down here. These are going to be here until we decide to use them. They don't go away at the end of your turn. You get to keep all the light tiles you have. And you can do your same action more than once on a turn if you wish to. And this one does, it is reduce it by 1, not 2, I apologize. It's only 1 damage when you're standing on that light tile. And it's not actually the tile. Okay, so this will give you -1 damage if you're anywhere on the light stream that this is connected to. That's what this does. I apologize, I kind of misspoke on a couple of that. We're going to move into his second action. No, I think what we're going to do is we're going to start moving. I'm going to use 2 of my movement to move 2 spaces. And we'll move, whoops, to get the right guy here, 1, 2 spaces right there. Now notice I'm standing in the darkness. That's no good. We don't want to be in darkness. So as I move, I'm allowed to place my light tiles down. You can also place light tiles if you do an illuminate action as well. So those were 2 of our movement, and we can choose to activate characters in any order, doing any amount of actions and free flowing back and forth as much as we want. So for example, he did an action, he did 2 moves, he has 1 move left. At this point, I could activate another character if I wish to, or to go somewhere else, or do something else, and then come back to this one at a different time if I wish to, if I think that's beneficial for our group. And of course, we can communicate that across the board. We can all talk to each other, decide how we want to go ahead and try to resolve our goals. And remember, our goal for this one is to discover the land on H15. So that is going to be right here. We want to try to get to that particular tile. And so at this point, the thing I'm going to do next is I think I am going to do another plan action, and I'm going to grab 2 more tiles. There are only 3 tiles left over here, and you refill them once they are gone. I'm going to grab this one and this one. These are the 2 tiles I'm going to put into my reserve. And again, we'll lower our action points by 1. And for my final action, I am going to do a reveal action. It says right here, 1 action and X lux. Reveal enemies in the pattern and remove the first coral bone from each space in the pattern. So there's a blip, we'll flip them and apply their reactions. Revealing blips have an illumination value of 4. So when that'll be important when we get to the actual attacking actions. Heralds raise their illumination level to 4, and Outer Lords raise their illumination level to 2. And you'll see how that works during our playthrough here. That's going to be what we're going to do. We're going to reveal, which is going to 1, destroy this. And of course, I have to look at my reveal action on here. So if we look at it this way, I'm able to set anything out in the pattern there. So now that we've done our reveal action, we get to destroy one of these coral. Then we can also place anything from our reserve that fit into this particular pattern. So I am going to place it just like this. We're going to place these 2 right there because that is in my pattern. Now, I could have, if I wanted to, I could put this one here and this one out here like that if I wanted to. They don't have to connect when you place these, but I think for our benefit here, I think it would be best if we actually do place them together. Actually, I think I'm going to turn this one this way in case we have to go in that direction, because this will connect to this land, and this land is considered a lit place once we get there, and we can move off it in any direction we want to. Now, of course, we do have to pay our lux. We have to pay 2 in order to use that plan action, and then we have to pay 1 in order to use that illumination action, and that is our last action. I still have movement if I wish to use it. I am going to move 1 space, and then I am going to look down here. It says I can pay 1 lux to be able to move 1 space, or he might have a card that allows him to do it. Actually, I lied. I'm going to keep him just like that. We've got a whole bunch of other characters. I've kind of monopolized his poor actions, but he's really good at illuminating and moving forward. So I wanted to make sure we got to that land tile. What we're going to do is move to this person's turn. This has 4 speed. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to use all 4, and that's going to end us on that land. So if we take that character, it can go 1, 2, 3, 4 and land right on that land tile. You can always move over your own people as long as you don't land on them, as long as your movement doesn't end there. So for example, with 2 movement here, he wouldn't be able to move 1, 2. There's no place he could land. So he wouldn't be able to move in that location. At this point, we'll be able to reveal that land tile. And this will be considered a discovery. This is not considered an action free when you enter a land connected to the light stream. If at the starting point, flip the land tile and place the corresponding land card near the board. Once the land is discovered, you can perform additional actions explained below on the land. For example, we can build, we can explore, we can activate facilities, we can deploy printer actions. So there's a lot of different things you can do once you get to these land tiles. And you can only reveal them, of course, if there aren't any shadows on these land tiles as well. And there aren't, so we're going to flip over our land tile and see what we have found. We have found knowledge ruins. I'll place it just like that. The direction of it, I don't believe has any bearing on the game. I'm just going to place it straight up and down so I can read it, and we'll place this person back on here. Now remember, this is all considered lit up, but they do still cost movement to move through, as opposed to the Citadel that's all considered one space. This is not. These all do have extra spaces there. We'll take a look now at what that card is. The first thing you're going to do is read the lore that goes along with the particular tile that you have found. We have found knowledge ruins. It says, you smell the age-yellowed pages through the lux respirator that filters the particles of darkness suspended in the air. You like it and savor it for a moment, as though you were breathing in part of lost centuries. That smell of old ink and mold holds a story that needs no filtering. It is a story of black, as the scouts impressed in ink. Yet, you, as flimsily as the pages turned by the wind, it is a story of redemption and revenge. Maybe that story is none other than your very own. You must continue fighting the shadows inside you, but also the ones outside. And these pages in your book increase. These shadows will grow until one day one kind will devour the other. And now that we've read that, we'll be able to see what this actual land holds for us. There's a lot of different things you're noticing on this card. The first thing we have is the actual symbol for the land, so that you can match these up with anything else that has to do with it. Then we have our build space over here. If we decide to use that, that's what these tokens are for. We would place our token there to designate that we are using it to build. They also have the amount of Umbra extracted from Umbra gatherers are going to be there. Sorry, the Umbra extractors. They're also the number of facilities that can be built on this land. They're located right here, so we can only have one. Then we have our explore space. Put a token there to designate that we've actually decided to explore. Again, we'd do that. And you would read one of the exploring cards that they're part of this game, which is pretty sweet. Trust me, we're going to be doing that pretty soon because that's pretty awesome. The next is our printer space. That's down here. Again, you're going to place your token to designate that you use the printer action here. And then it shows how many printer cards are going to be displayed. And if you decide to want more of them, it's going to cost that much Umbra to put out another one at that point. Now at this point, we have completed our Discover the Land in H1.5. So at completion, we're going to reveal B and discard this card. There is an effect that each scout will gain 2 Umbra. During the setup, I said that you get that when the goal is achieved. That is incorrect. I've already put a subtitle at that point. What you do is when this card is revealed, you're going to have to deal with the effect. So at this point, all of our characters, when this card was first revealed, should have gained 2 Umbra. So I'm going to be placing this next to all of our characters. We each are going to get 2 of these. Now we did complete this objective, so we are going to move to the next one. We're going to discard this and reveal card B and see what it says. Here is card B. Mission B here now says the extractor is in very poor condition. A maintenance crew will need to dispose of it. It is time to construct new ones. So the effect, place the Umbra Extractor Facility tile on the Citadel board. From now on, you can use this facility in your mission. Our objective now is to place this extractor in land H1.5 and one in land P10. Once that's done, we'll reveal C and discard this. So at this point, we'll place our facility right here to show that we have the ability to use this whenever we want to. And there are some tokens to show that when we decide to build them, we'll place these down onto those lands. And what you're seeing here is that it would cost 1 action to build this on there, and every time it comes to the beginning of the scout phase, we're going to gain X Umbra, where X is going to be equal to the value that is found on our card here. For this one, it is 1. So every beginning of scout phase, we're going to gain 1 Umbra. And the person that collects that is any person that is connected to the light stream can choose to collect that. Or if nobody is connected to the light stream, the Citadel could get it, or you could place it on the land itself. And if this land is not connected to anything, it would always be put on the land. And anybody can pick that up for free as they walk into those spaces. Since our objective is to place an extractor on the land, we're going to do that. I am going to use one of my tokens to build that, and according to our Umbra extractor, it is going to cost ourselves 1 action to do this. There are going to be other ones you can eventually build that may cost Lux, or it may cost an action and potentially Umbra in order to do that, but this one in particular just costs the one action. So that is one of the actions for our character. That character now has 2 actions left. So he has done the build action. The next one I think I'm going to do is this character is going to do the explore action, because I think that'll be awesome. We're going to place our token here to show that we're doing one of those explore actions and see what is inside this land. So we'll go to our deck of cards and look for the one that has TB as our signal here. And we have 2 of them, and we'll always start with the first one. The first one says burnt pages. It says right here, a romantic might say they choose the library as their refuge because of the comfort offered by books. And that would be true if by comfort you meant the heat of the flames from pages burned by the exiles to create a fire over which to grill a few mushrooms. A woman offers you a piece of mushroom as a token of friendship. You're about to refuse, but her partner, a gruff, beefy guy armed with a luck sickle, gives you a threatening look. So at this point, we can either decide that the shadows are already enough of a threat to your well-being, and you do not accept the food. Or what harm can possibly come from eating a mushroom grown in the wet-covered of some old books? Oh my. We'll have to decide what we want to do about this particular incident. Looking more in depth at this card, I wanted to show you that this has 2 different options you can do. You can choose the top one, and then you'd flip the card to decide. If you decide to go with 2, though, look down here. This is what's called a challenge, and you're going to be rolling dice and looking for successes. These successes are going to determine whether or not you pass this test. And if you look here, there's some symbols. Those have to correspond with your particular character or items that they might have. The Breathless has these 2. This isn't going to help very much for that character. But the character that's performing this action actually does have none of the symbols. The best one that would have probably been used for something like this place would have been somebody like this who's got both of the symbols. The Pioneer would have gone here. Maybe that would have been a great action for the character to do, because he would have already gotten 2 successes before even having to roll the dice. Here are the challenge dice that we would have to roll, and they're also used for our overloads. Remember, if you overload something, you're going to roll these and see how much damage it takes. You potentially get 0, 1, 2, or 1 and 1. So there's a pretty bad chance of actually making this. There's only one side or 2 sides that have 2s, the rest have 1s, and there's potentially a 0. So at this point, I think our best plan is just to go here. You decide the shadows are already enough of a threat to your well-being, and do not accept the food. I think that's what we're going to do. So we're going to flip our card and see what that is, and I'm going to do my very best to not show you the bottom one, because that way you can maybe come back and try that yourself. It says, refusing the food in a camp where you have just sought refuge is not a smart move. Had a monk not intervened, you might have found yourself in trouble. So I am going to lose 1 luck, but I'm going to gain 1 of these tokens. So we'll lower our luck points by 1, and then we'll gain 1 of these challenge tokens, and we'll put it on the Citadel board. We'll place our faction token right up here to remind ourselves that we have it, and so we'll be able to use that during the development phase after we complete our mission. One thing I forgot to do after we did the build action is I have to place this token down on this land here to represent that it is there. So far we've done 2 actions with this character. Sadly, one of them was because we chose a different path than we probably should have on the card for our investigation, but that's okay. We're going to move into some of our other characters, because remember, our mission now is that we have to place an extractor on lands H15 and 1 in P10 as well. Our other group is going to start by using one action and one lux here to do a plan action, and we're going to gain this light tile. There are no more light tiles in the pool anymore, so we have to reach into our light tiles thing and grab 5. Whenever you get to 0 there, you have to refill it. We've got a total of 1, 2, 3, and 2 more here, 1 and 2. Maybe if I can get them. 2, 3. There we go. We've got a total of 3. These are the new light tiles that are going to be in the pool that we can gain, which I think are going to be really cool. This one particular right here is fantastic because it allows you to spend 1 less movement when you're moving on through this tile, which in essence most of the time will mean it's a free tile to move through. So we'll place those over next to our Citadel board so we have this pool of tiles we're able to pull from when we do our plan actions. Now that we have some new tiles, I'm going to spend one more of my actions to do a plan action. We're going to grab this tile right here, I believe is going to be which one we're going to grab. I think that'll be good. Those are the 2 tiles that this character is going to have in reserve. And our Cyclops is also going to drop down 2 actions and 2 lux because each plan action costs 1 luck to grab a couple tiles as well. He's going to grab these 2 right here and place them down right there. At this point, I will start with our Breathless to move out 1 and put down 1 tile. At this point, that's 1 movement point that person's used. It has 3 left. Our Cyclops has 2 before he has to start using Lux, and he's going to use both of those. 1, 2 to move right here. He's going to place down this tile here. Now this tile does allow him to move through it without paying 1 of his movement points, so he still has 1 movement point left. He only has 1 action left, and he's going to use it right now to do an Illuminate action. And his Illuminate is going to give him the ability to get rid of any of these corals within those 2 spaces straight ahead. So this one is going to be destroyed. And at this point then I can place down a illuminating tile here. We're going to place, I need to have it connecting, otherwise bad news happens. We're going to go that way. No, I think I'm going to place it the other way in case I ever want to go over to where this encounter is or this event is over there. I also want to mention that you could choose to walk off of these if they are free going in that direction. But going off the grid here is not a good plan. You can gain some corruption in that way. He still has 1 movement point left. We're going to move him 1 that way. He's out of actions and out of movement, but that's okay. The Breathless still has 1 action left and 1, 2, 3 movement. We're going to put that person right there. And remember, moving on to here doesn't cost a movement point, so the Breathless still has 2 movement left because technically this was free. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I'm sorry, 1 movement point left. And we can now reveal this land right here. We have found ourselves Fort Cloud. Well, that's awesome. It sounds pretty like a neat place to be. In the clouds, maybe. That'll be kind of cool. Let's check out what that card shows because, of course, there are no shadows here to prevent us from being able to flip over that tile. The skyscraper surrounded by crumbling buildings stands tall like a lighthouse. The perimeter lights on its summit pierce the night like lasers, casting through the refuge. They are searching for small shadows slipping between abandoned cars. You advance over a carpet of broken glass and enter the lobby of the skyscraper. Amidst the mess and several old barricades, you come across a walkie-talkie, which whenever I see the word walkie-talkie reminds me of Tommy Boy. Is that a niner I hear in there? Are you calling me out a walkie-talkie? I'm sorry. Anyway, it is still working. You seize it and immediately hear a voice. It tells you that no one can enter Fort Cloud for free. You make a small contribution, dropping a few lux into a container that is then winched up to the upper stories. The doors of the refuge will always be open to you now. All right, let's flip over our card and see what we have here. All right, the same type of deal. It's very similar, I think, to the other one. I don't think there's actually any change at all. This is exactly the same type of things that can be done here. I do have 1 action left, and I think our best action would be to do that build action to be able to place down this tile here to prove that we are going to be able to use our Umbra Extractor. We'll place it right down here, and now we can gain 1 Umbra at the beginning of our turn, and anybody on that light stream can. And now the light streams are all connected. If we look at our board, the light stream connects to the Citadel, which then connects over here. So technically, all of this is all connected by our light streams at this point. I've placed our land card up next to the other one. I've also taken the cards that go along with it and placed them right there. I do want to mention that once we have finished this particular event here, we no longer are going to gain access to this. This is discarded and gone. You can no longer search that, and you can only ever do those explore actions on a tile once per mission. So in order to deal with this one right here, we would have to find this land at another time. We were able to complete our mission. We were able to put extractors on H15 and one in land P10. We'll reveal C and discard this card. Let's see what mission C has to offer for us here. As soon as the Umbra extraction is completed, you hear noises and movement where you should be only silence. You check the quantum radar. On your SPI, a few blips are displayed. Effect: place 4 blips in I-17, G-15, P-8, and Q-11. So our objective now is to destroy all shadows. At the end of that, our completion will reveal D and reveal E, and we'll discard this card. As you can see, the board's edge shows our letters and numbers, so we're able to grid out where exactly we should place those blips according to our mission. The first one's going to be placed in P8. I'm just going to go right here. Here's P and here's 8, so super close, so it's not good. We have our token bag here that has all our shadow tokens in it. And the way I do this is I draw them out one at a time and make sure, okay, see, I already saw that one, so I'm going to put that back in. I don't want to know what these are. That's the trick to this. Okay, we got a blip. We're going to put that blip down right there on P8. We also are going to place one on Q11, which is right there. So again, we're going to shake this up and grab one and hopefully not know what it is. We know what that one is. We'll stick it back in. Then we'll draw another one. We'll see what, okay, this one we don't know what it is. That's exactly how I want it. We'll put it right there. The last two are going to place at G15 and I-17, which are those two places right there. The first one we'll place over here in this area, and the next one we'll draw from our bag and place it down right here. I-17 and G15. Okay, those are absolutely terrible places to be. Now, if you've noticed, we're keeping the blips face down. You don't get to know what they are until they are illuminated. Then we'll find out what shadows those are. Now, sadly, none of our scouts have any actions left. He's got one more movement left, but I don't think moving is going to really help right now. So at this point, we're going to be ending our scout's turn. Our Breathless also has movement as well, but we're going to go on to the actual shadow phase next. We're going to go here. I am first going to move this up 1 space, and according to that, then we're going to reveal our threats with 1 or 2. Place the leftmost space applying its effect. We're going to draw our card, our threat card. The card that we have right now we have to deal with is Mimicry. Shadows on lands receive +1 to their health values. Oh, that's not going to be fun. We need to make sure they don't land on the land. That would be bad news. After that, the outer lords are going to act, heralds are going to act, now our shadows are going to act. We're going to roll the gravity die and move each shadow according to the result. And after moving, if there is a scout in the shadows pattern, it will attack. If there are multiple targets, the shadows attack scouts with the most luck. And if all scouts have the same luck, then the shadows target the scout with the most umbra. And if then at that point, if they're still equal, then the players choose which target. The rule applies to all enemies. So at this point, we're going to check. Here's our attack pattern right here. So any square adjacent to it and a diagonal is where we're going to be able to attack from. Now, one thing I didn't mention while we're moving is you can only move orthogonally unless there's something that allows you to do differently. Everything is orthogonal in this game. But when it comes to this attack pattern, well, it could be the sky's the limit on that, anywhere around them. They are going to be attacking for 2 damage, and they have 2 health if we ever decide to beat them. Now remember, if we destroy a blip, we don't get any Umbra form. Only if we actually destroy a revealed shadow do we actually get the blips. And the shadows also have an ability here that if they do get a critical, the target can't discard light shield cards to reduce damage. Whenever we take damage, we can choose to discard cards for damage mitigation, and if we can't or decide not to, we take the damage in Lux instead. Remember, it's our health, our attack, and our being able to move around the board, so that Lux is super important. At this point, we will roll our gravity die, which has Omega and Alpha symbols on it. The Omega and Alpha mean all the blips will move 1 space towards either the Alpha portal here or the Omega portal. Now remember, if they're inside this red area here, no matter what you roll, they're always going to move towards that citadel. Also, we have on there these plus symbols in the middle, which means they're going to move 2 spaces, which is bad news. And this means that if they're within 4 spaces of a scout, they'll move toward the scout. Otherwise, they'll move towards whatever symbol is here, the omega or the alpha. So we'll roll it up and see what we get. We got towards the scouts or an alpha. Okay, so we're going to move towards the scouts. This is going to move 1 onto here, and this will move 1 down, I guess, because it's in the corridor. It's always going to try to move towards there, and we'll move the other ones now. These 2 will move 1 towards each of these scouts here, and this is the closest one, so it's just moving 1 towards them. With that complete, these are now going to attack, and this is terrible. Both going to attack this character right here. This first one here will go and roll. We're going to roll one of these dice. This is a hit. That's a miss. This is a hit, but if you have that parry symbol inside of your lantern, you're able to stop 2 of the damage. Same with this one. It's going to affect the actual damage die if you have that particular lantern. We don't have any of that help, so we're just going to roll this up, see what happens to our poor old little scout character here, and see what happens. The first one is going to take 1 damage. Now, at this point, I can choose to discard a card to prevent the damage, and I think we're going to do that. I've got a couple of these safe trail cards, so we're just going to discard this card. And if you ever have to get to a moment where you have to draw cards and you can't, you can spend 2 Lux to shuffle up your discard pile and bring those cards back. We're going to attack for this one now, second. Let's see how this one goes. It is also a hit. So at this point, I am going to take that as damage. And if you choose not to discard a card, you take the damage as Lux, and it's 2 damage. So actually, I should have discarded 2 cards or taken 1 more. I am going to take 1 more. Every time these hit, they do 2 damage. So I discarded 1 and took 1. And the second one, I'm not going to discard any cards. I'm just going to take the 2 damage. Sadly, the Breathless is in a world of hurt as well. Let's see what happens to her. She's going to get hit with a critical, which means I have to take it in Lux. I cannot use my Light Shield cards. And let's see what the second attack is. Another critical. Oh my gosh, that person is down to 2 Lux. Just like that, this character is almost about to have to refill our Lux using one of our vials. Now, I could have played this card because it could be played during the shadow phase if I want to, but it's not going to help me. It says if you're attacked, you may move 1 space. You may prevent all damage if you are now outside of the enemy's attack pattern. And this card would not have put me outside the attack pattern, which is really too bad. At this point, we would do the bottom part here, which is generate shadows. And for each singularity, we would roll a die and place some shadows down. But there are no singularities, only shadow tokens, or these blips, I should say. The first thing we have is our production phase going into the scout phase now that the shadow phase has completed. Each Umbra extractor produces the Umbra specified on the land cards. Lux synthesizer produces 1 Lux each. Scouts connected to the facilities can divide the Umbra and Lux among their reserves. Each Servoids regain the Lux specified by the Lux regen values. Now, our 2 places we do have our Umbra extractors, and each one of those Umbra extractors are going to be able to produce 1 Umbra each. And since they're all connected, I can choose who is going to be able to gain these, or I could keep them in the places where they come from, or I could dump them into the Citadel if I want. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give both of these to the Pioneer. Maybe he can go and buy something at some point that can help out our group. That's how we're going to get through our production. Then we're going to do our recharge. We're going to flip all facilities currently on the reload side to the ready side. That is not going to take place. We are going to refill our Light Shield. Each scout may discard a Light Shield card, then draw a new Light Shield card until their hand limit is reached. +1 if you're playing with 1 scout. Now, I did discard 1 card for our mayor card person here, so that character is going to gain 1 more card. Oh, it's got this super card. Check this card out. It says spend 2 luck points and 1 action to do the following. X times. Move up to 2 spaces without spending movement points, reveal an adjacent enemy, and attack. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. So X times is going to be the development ability of your Citadel. For how powerful Citadel is, it's going to be able to do these things. Oh my gosh, this is exactly what I needed at exactly the right time, because I could reveal both of those and then attack them, of course, if I am able to. Oh, that was a perfect card to draw. Woohoo, that helps so much. At this point, we're going to recharge our speed and we're going to recharge our actions. And apparently, did I miss one here? I can't remember. I thought I did all the actions with all my characters. Maybe this one still had 1 action left. If it did and I missed it, I apologize, but look on the bright side. If you have any extra actions at the end, you gain an extra speed point for it. So if I did not move this for an action, then of course you'll see a subtitle probably during the video. And of course, anytime after the video is out, please check the pinned comment of this video and you'll see any other errors that might have been made post-production. Let's move into our action phase for all of our scouts because I'm going to reset them back up to their speed values and also to their action points. Now, I don't see why we don't start with this character because why would we not use this card? This card's awesome. X is 2, so I can allow myself to reveal an adjacent enemy and attack. And I can spend 2 Lux points and 1 action to do the following X times. So we are going to spend 2 Luck points and we're going to spend, Lux, and we're going to spend 1 action to play this card. The first one we're going to reveal is this one. We'll see what this particular blip is. It is going to be a lurker, and we're going to place him right down here on the board. And at this point, we are going to look at his reveal action. It states, a lurker moves 1 space toward the scout who revealed it, and if in range, puts 1 break marker on the scout's lantern or weapon, player's choice. So we're going to put a break token on, I think I'm going to put it on the lantern for that character. Break tokens are represented by these red cubes here. We'll place 1 on there. Now this does have a 3 threshold, so as soon as it goes over 3, that's when it's going to break. So far I think we're doing just fine. Now let's make that attack against this lurker. To attack one, we're going to spend our Lux for our weapon, which is going to be 1, bringing our Lux value down to 1. At this point, we're going to roll our die. Our dice is going to be is all representative of the illumination that our enemy has, determines how much damage we're going to do. Once a shadow is illuminated, it now has an illumination of 4 once it is revealed. So that means any one of these could probably do some damage to it because the illumination values go all the way up to 4 at somewhere. Now, if you only had an illumination value of 2, you wouldn't hit on the 4s and 3s. The more illuminated they are, the more damage and the more easy it is to hit them. These blips, I believe, have an illumination of 0, so it's only going to be hit on 2 of the 4 sides. So we'll roll our dice, see how we do against this. We got a 4 and a critical hit. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. If you look here, the critical on the character says you can move to an adjacent space and attack again without spending Lux. That's fantastic. We've already played this card, which is going to make us attack and do things anyway. So this is, sadly, it's going to be kind of a moot point. But once this activates, actually, this might not be too bad. I've done only one of the 2 X's here. The other one is I can move 2 spaces without spending movement points. So that's another thing I could do. So let's see how this extra attack goes because I get 1 because of the critical. Now the damage I'm going to inflict is 3, and the lurker only has 1 health, so we're able to eliminate the lurker and give ourselves 1 Umbra for defeating a exposed shadow. Now, of course, remember, if you kill a blip, you get no Umbra. That's the first attack. Let's attack the second one without having to pay any of our Lux in order to attack again. Wow, so I think that's how that works. Now, of course, it might be a little bit different because of this card, but I am making an attack. And I've already spent the Lux to activate this card. But I am attacking, but without this card, so I'm not going to be able to reveal an adjacent enemy and attack. We're just going to attack and hope we get them. We'll remove this one from the board, and then our other one is back here. Let's see if we're able to take him out. We got a illumination of 1, so that means we have missed. We need to get an illumination of 0 in order to hit an unexposed blip. So now that the critical failed, because it does have an illumination value of 0, if it is not revealed as a blip, or if it's a blip. So these are the only 2 that would have actually damaged it, are the actual 0s on the die, but that's okay. Remember, we still have that card in effect. This card is going to reveal an adjacent enemy and attack for the 2nd time. We'll see what this one is. This is going to be, oh, it's the same thing. It's this guy, and he's going to put a break token again on something. I'm going to put it again on my lantern because it has a 3 value, and I'd rather have my sword. Now, something I didn't mention is that I do have to check the attack pattern in order to see if I'm able to hit this particular shadow. I know this was a sword, and so I knew it had an attack pattern right adjacent to it, so I have no problem. Now that it's illuminated, it always has an illumination value of 4. Shadows do. The other heralds and outer lords, those will differ depending on what you've done and how you've exposed them and things of that nature. But this one automatically has a shadow value of 4, so the 0 does hit. If I would have got that earlier, I wouldn't have had to reuse the rest of the card for this. The lurker only has 1 health, so the lurker is dead, and I will gain yet again another Umbra, bringing my Umbra total to 4. I then have to discard that card, and we're all set to go on. If we have more actions, we can, but I think I want to take out those other two first. I'm going to start by moving the Breathless 1, 2, 3 spaces. She still had this tile there from the last turn, so I'm able to move out onto that area there. The next thing I'm going to do is use my, what is this, flare launcher. We're going to use the illumination ability right here. That's going to cost us 1 lux, and we're going to illuminate this creature right here. We have another one of these guys. He's going to appear right there, and if we look at his card, the lurker says moves 1 space toward the scout who revealed it, and if in range puts 1 break marker on the scout's lantern or weapon, player's choice. That was absolutely terrible. It's going to move 1 space here and put a token onto the Breathless. I'm going to put it on her lantern as well, just because I don't know, maybe I just don't like lanterns. That's going to be it for her for right now, because I can't attack it from where I am. And I've already used 1, 2, 3 of my movement. I only have 1 left. So the only thing I could do is move back to here. If we look at the pattern on the weapon that this character has, well, I can't attack right in front of me. So I'm in Hurt City here. I'm in Bad News City for that. We'll see if we're able to maybe use a card or something that could potentially help us. And she really doesn't have anything that's going to help her right now. So we're going to turn to this character who's actually standing right in front of him. I think this person's going to destroy this thing. I am going to use my weapon here. This is my impulse cannon. I'm going to make an attack with it. So it's going to cost me 1 lux. This is the attack pattern for it. I could actually hit another one here if it was there. It actually can hit both of these squares. It doesn't have that. I don't have another person there. But it is going to cost me 1 lux, bringing my lux down to 5. And we'll roll our die and see how much damage we're able to do this thing. It's going to be a mountain of damage. I got a 0, which means I'm going to do my damage value of 2. The lurker only has 1 health, so we're going to remove that lurker from the board, and I get an Umbra for being able to take out that one. Now let's see, what should I do for the rest of this guy? He could move up here and reveal this one and attack it. That probably wouldn't be a bad idea. I do have 2 movements, so I am going to use 1 of my movement to move up to here. Then I'm going to use, sorry, I was out of camera. Then we're going to use our illuminate action, which is going to illuminate the 2 things in front of us, which is going to be this token. That's going to cost me 1 lux, bringing it down to 4. And we'll reveal this. Oh, that's somebody different. That is going to be our Devourer. Our Devourer does have 3 health. It attacks for 1, and look at its attack pattern. And its ability says, put a Coral Born token under the Devourer. Oh, that's Bad News City. We'll put him here, and we'll add one of these coral right here. Now, I believe you can still attack this one, even though it's standing on there. If I'm wrong, please check the pinned comments to find out your answer if it's there. But I'm going to take my attack action right here. With my impulse cannon, that'll be my 3rd action with this character. He attacked, moved 2, then did a reveal action, and now again doing an attack action with this cannon. Let's see if there's any cards I can use that can help me out. I'm going to spend this card right here. It says Brothers in Arms. During an attack action, you deal +1 damage if there's another scout within 5 spaces. 1, 2, 3. That one is within 5 spaces, so I'm going to be able to do an extra damage playing that card. And if I wanted to, I could play another card that I could have used one of these, which I probably am going to do. I've got 2 of these leatherback cards. I'm going to gain back 1 of my lux. I'm going to use this leatherback card to give myself -1 to my illumination ability, meaning I do have 5 lux now instead of 4. We'll make our attack, see how it goes. I got another 0, which means I'm only going to be able to do 2 damage to this, but I get the +1 from here, so that's 3 damage. And our Devourer does have 3 health, so we were able to take out this Devourer. Ha! It worked just as I planned. Take that, Devourer. And I'm going to gain an Umbra for that, and we'll place that down next to our character. Here's where we stand. This character has 4 Umbra, no more actions, 1 speed left, and 5 lux still in the first capsule here. Our Breathless still has 2 actions, but only 1 lux left in the vial. If you ever have to refill your lux vial while you're out on the battlefield and there's enemies near you within 4 spaces, they will do a move action to be closer towards that particular scout, trying to surround them while they're trying to refill their lux. At this point, we did destroy all of the shadows, so we'll remove that card, and we'll grab our next card. Now, it does say reveal D and E, so both of these are probably going to be in effect here. It says, the shadows originate from a singularity. You must stop them immediately before they reach the Citadel. Effect, place 2 triangle singularities with the alert side face up and pointing the arrow in the space closest to the citadel. These are going to be in D18 and Q3. Then we'll place 4 blips in P3, 4, E17, and 18. That's awesome. Destroy 2 shadows. Place a blue cube as a counter on the card every time we destroy one, so we can remind us. Once we complete that, we'll go to F. Now this did also say to reveal card E as well, so we will reveal that and see what it says. It says, you cannot forget your promise to the Illuminary Monk to deliver the amulets. Effect, place Forgotten Land M5, M6, N5, and N6. So we're going to place a Forgotten Land in the 4 square area. Once we reach the land and spend 1 action, at completion we can reveal G and discard this. So we have to do this and reveal F and discard this. So these 2 have to be done in order to continue, or maybe we just have to do 1 and then something might happen. We'll have to see. We'll place these down and we'll deal with that. We'll get that all set up and I'll show you what happens, what it looks like. We've placed down our singularity right here, and it is pointing towards the citadel, and yes, it can point diagonal. It's going to spawn things, and as it does, it's going to turn and spawn things in different ways. But we're going to now grab our deck of cards, or not deck of cards, but our lands here. I've removed the ones from this pile here that it told me to at the beginning of the setup. So we're going to take one of these at random and see which one we get. We'll just take this one right here. We'll put it down at M56 and N56, which is going to be right there. Now we have to get there and put a token, or we have to use an action in order to fulfill that mission objective. We also have to place 2 blips pretty much adjacent to this thing. One is going to go right here, P3, and the other one is going to go right here at P. Nope, I know what that is, so we'll put that one back. We'll draw again. Hopefully we'll get it the right side this time. Nope, we'll draw it again. This is sadly the only part of the game that's a little sad, is that nope, we only know what they are coming out. I wish there was a way that they could have done this that you didn't see what they are coming out. I'm sure I should start figuring out that I think by feel I could probably figure out which ones these are, but I'm not that far yet. So we have one at P3, one at P4, and then we're also going to put 2 more, one up at E17, sorry, and one at E18, which is going to be next to our other singularity. And that's going to be this one right up here. So again, we're going to take our bag, draw some out of here. We got this one, we'll put it right there. And then the second one I get, hopefully I can start figuring out which side is probably the right side. It's going to be, I think, like this. We'll grab that one. Yes, perfect. We'll put that one just like that. We're going to continue our turn by playing this card right here. Spend 1 Lux. Another scout connected to you by a light stream may take a light stream tile from the bag. We're going to have this character right here do that. We'll grab our bag, give it a good little shake here, and grab a tile. This person gets this tile right here. That's actually a really good one. Put that in the reserve. At this point, this character now has 2 actions remaining. The first one I'm going to do, I'm going to use a plan action, allowing me to grab a tile. I'm going to grab this one from the light stream. So now we have, or the light pool, I apologize. So we now have 2, and I only have 1 speed left. So I'm going to move 1 over to here, and with my final action, I'm going to use an illuminate action to illuminate the 2 tile movement areas going towards that. It's right here. I'm going to pay this in Lux, which means I'm going to have to refill my vial. And there's nothing within 4 spaces of me to move towards me, which is fantastic. And if I look at my pattern, it's a little weird. It only goes 2, but it's out from where I am. So I'm going to have to do it like this. We're going to have to put 1 here and 1 here, which is pretty good. Oh, now that I think about it, I wonder if I should spend 1 Lux to move here, and then I could place these like this and be able to destroy this coral here. I think that might be a great idea. I'm going to do that. I'm going to pay an extra Lux to move 1 in order to do that. So and then we're going to place these down. So let's go over the Whisper so we can take our Lux points. Well, now that I think about it, I don't know if it's worth it because there's still this one here. I think it'd be better to save the Lux movement and just put our tiles down here. And that way I don't want to put it like that. I want to put it so these are connecting. And yeah, we want to connect it like that. The reason I'm connecting it like this, so that the light stream is moving in that way, is if these blips ever come over here and try to move onto this, if it is facing this way, they will move right through the light stream. But if it's facing this way, they'll bounce off the light stream and not be able to move forward. And if that's the case, then you'd flip this over and it becomes a little bit less illuminated. And if they run into it again, they would remove it completely. Of course, if it is facing this way, they would move onto it and make it unilluminated already. but it still would remain there. And again, they could move this way or they could move off it that way. They don't, of course, it doesn't really matter once they move onto one how it works. But so I'm going to place them in that direction just like that. So if they ever do come this way, at least they've got a little bit more protection before they start to try to get to our citadel. I did have to pay that 1 lux, so we'll go back to 8 and we'll flip this over to a 1. And this character is completely out of actions. There's nothing else this character can do, but could still play some cards though if we want to. I also took this off the board when we decided we were thinking about illuminating that, so I placed that back out there for us. I'm going to use this character to try to hold back the 2 blips that are coming up from the E and D area. I'll show you that in a second. So what I'm going to do is use 1 action to gain my plan action. And I'm going to gain this tile right here. I'll place it right there for this character. Actually, I'm going to place it over on this side. And now I do have some movement. I'm going to move 1, 2, 3 spaces and activate the event. I'll show you on the board. With the lightsaber spear that this character has, I'm hoping this person can carry on against that. So 1, 2, 3, I'm going to move right to there, and I get to place out my light place. I'm just going to place it like that. I don't think I'm going to have to go up there. At least I hope I don't have to go up there. I might just try to hold my ground right here. Once you move onto one of these, you're going to grab the top of the event deck, and you're going to see what you have found. This one says gain 1 action. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. And then we're just going to discard this card. And I get another action, so now I'm still up to 2 actions with this character, and it's right there with 2 speed. I'm going to use 1 speed to move back over to this land to right there. And I'm wondering if I should use a plan action to try to maybe it would refill my Lux canister, and these guys 1, 2, 3, 4 are not within 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 of me, so they wouldn't move towards me yet. I changed my mind. I think instead what I'm going to do is this deploy printer. I'm going to spend 1 action and 1 scout token. This action can only be performed once for each land card. Place the scout token on the land card and create a print display of item cards by drawing the number specified by the land cards from the corresponding printer deck. While performing a deploy printer action, you can pay 2 Umbra to increase the number of items displayed by the printer, allowing you to draw 1 additional item. After the printer is deployed, the active printer action becomes available. Let's go check this out. Now, if we look at our board here, I've already put my 2 tokens out here, and I have to put 1 here. I'm not exactly sure how this goes. I'm not sure if you only get the 2 tokens and that is it, and you can't use any more for the rest of the adventure or the mission. If that's so, that seems a little odd, but if it is, please let me know in the comments below. For this particular point, I'm going to move my token to there. We've already done the explore action, so I'm not too worried about it. I'm going to grab 3 of our base cards here and see what we get. There is a total of 5 of these, so I'm just going to give them a good truffle shuffle here and grab 3 because that's how many it tells me to put out, and we'll see what 3 we have available for us to buy. The first one we have is this Lux Bang. Use 1 action to reveal every Shadow Herald in a 2x2 area within 2 spaces. That's pretty good. The other one here I have is attached to a weapon or lantern for +1 durability. That could be really good. These are all really good. The last one is gain 2 Lux. Oh, wow, that's really good. Now, of course, you have to buy these in order to be able to get them. And I don't think that costs an action. If we look at our card here, we can activate a printer. Spend X Umbra once you have paid the cost of one of the item cards in the print display. You may add it to your scout board. This action can also be performed if you are connected to the land by light stream. Oh, so anybody can buy these. Oh, that's amazing. Now, the activate printer says we only have to pay the Umbra, though down here it says this action can also be performed if you are connected to the land by light stream. Now, I wish on this it wouldn't say that it says that the action can also be performed if you are connected, because this is a free action. It doesn't say anywhere on here that it's free, but this one is free. This one costs an action. This one costs an action. This one is a free action. You just have to pay the Umbra, and anybody can do it from anywhere connected to this one. I think I might buy something with this character, though. They have 4 Umbra. I think the one where I can give myself some durability might be the way to go for this character. I'm going to grab that item. I'm going to buy that one from there. Now, I do have 2 actions left because I gained that action thanks to the events. The main character is going to use one of the actions to do a plan action. I don't have any tiles left, so we're going to grab 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 more is going to be 5. We'll place them out. Oh, wow, we got a lot of tiles. I got a lot of cool things on them. Oh, look at all this protection. All right, it's fantastic. Oh, I'm going to get this one right here. This will be perfect. So then I have the ability to go anywhere I want. We'll place the tile here, and it is going to cost me 1 lux, which means we're going to have to refill our vial here, bringing it back up to 1, and nothing's within 4 squares, so nothing's going to move towards me. I only have 1 action left and 1 movement left. We'll see what I can do with this. I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to play one of these cards. I'm going to play this one, Safe Trails. Spend 1 lux. Another scout connected to you by the light stream gains 3 movement points. We're going to do that for the, the Pioneer. That'll be it. The Pioneer will move 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to be somewhat smart, and I'm going to pay 1 lux for the Whisperer to step back before I play that card. So because this is going to give me a free movement, so I can move to right here. And now maybe I can get him all the way over there. That'd be really good. I think I might be able to do that. I can play Lightstream Repositioning. Move a Lightstream tile within 3 spaces of you to another unoccupied space in your lantern pattern. So I could move this one to another unoccupied space in my lantern pattern. Let's make sure I do that right. Move a Lightstream tile within 3 spaces of you to another unoccupied space. Yeah, in my list, so it's anywhere within 3 spaces of me to here. I'm going to do this one. I'm going to move it to right there, and that's fantastic. Wow, that's a great card. I do have 2 speed with this character, so I can move 1, 2, and I don't think I have anything else that helps him move, so I'd actually have to pay lux now in order to make him move onto this area here. I think we'll wait till next turn. I think we're doing just fine with that character. That character actually hasn't used any actions yet. Oh, wow. I've still got a lot of actions. Sadly, I've used my movement, but I could do some planning actions. I think I will. I'll use a plan action. It's going to cost me 1 less when I get rid of this card, which allows me to spend only 1 lux instead of 2 to be able to grab 2 tiles, which I don't really know how much I'm going to use these, but you never know. I'll grab a couple straight ones. We'll have them in my reserve in case I need to move. That's not a bad idea. Maybe it'll help me out. We'll see how it goes. And I lied. My character actually has 3 speed, so I can move 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3 to right there. And I don't see why I wouldn't spend 1 lux to move myself to right here. But before we do, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm going to use another plan action, which is going to leave me with only 1 action left, which is going to be just fine because that's when I need to activate the mission up here. And I'm going to grab the only other 2 tiles that are left in the pool, and that'll be okay. Maybe I could illuminate something. Nope, we're fine. We're going to do that. And just like that. And that way I can now use that lux is going to make me fill our vial, because each plan action is going to be 2 of these. The first one only cost me 1, but this one's going to cost me 2, bring it back up to 8. So I am going to have to flip this to 1, and nothing is within 4 spaces, so I don't have to worry about it. And that's the reason I did it, because now I am going to have to spend 1 lux to be able to move 1 more space. So that will put me onto this, which is going to be Star's Sanctuary. Here's that land card. It says, excerpts from Lighting torment a black sky and crash into a huge structure composed of concrete rings. What type of building this may be eludes you. Perhaps a power station, or a communication machine used to communicate with the ancient Martian colonies, or a complex monument. So much knowledge has been lost over the past few centuries, torn away by the same black wind that is now pressing harder and harder on your Radiance armor. A storm is on its way. Keep safe. Lightning bolts illuminate a land that no one knows anymore, a world that has become alien. You feel a shiver of fear mixed with pleasure for the renewed sense of discovery that mankind will one day experience again. If the shadows are eventually defeated, we will have a new and ancient world to explore. Let's see what's on the flip side of this. We have found ourselves an awesome looking place. Now this one again, we can build things, and we do actually get 2 Umbra from here instead of the normal 1 that we get from the other places. Also, we have built 3 different times on this, as we will. And this is going to be our call sign, so if we ever do one of those, we'll have to go through our deck here and find the F cards and put them out there ready for us to explore. So we have a new place to explore, but remember, we have to use our action in order to complete this. So we have to spend 1 action to complete this once we get onto this forgotten land. Reach the land and spend 1 action to complete it. We'll reveal card G and discard. And I think that's what we're going to probably do, because I do still have 1 action with my Pioneer. So instead of doing any of the cool things, oh, it's so tempting though. I want to know what this is so bad. No, we're going to do it. Forget the objectives. Here we go. I want to see what this has to do with this actual area. I'm excited to see what this is all about. The first one for this area is called Hailstorm. The storm builds up quickly as you advance between the large abandoned machinery and factories with collapsed roofs. Extreme environmental phenomena are frequent in the Forgotten Lands, as if the black tide had altered the clouds and controlled the wind. Hailstones as big as walnuts fall mercilessly on your Radiant's armor, and your Lux weapons are heavily affected. Oh no! I can either A, search for refuge, B, every refuge point is potentially a nest of shadows, so you continue through the storm, or 3, I can decide to go back. At least you already know the way. Well, I'm going to guess 3 is probably your safest bet, but I think if I search for refuge, maybe I'll find something really cool in there. We're going to go for number 1 and see what we have found. Number 1 says right here, you enter into what was once a place, but now it's just a strange organic cave. The thunder is so loud that it prevents you from hearing. If there are any shadows in the vicinity, you only realize when they are just a few meters away. Spawn 2 devourers on the land tile in 2 unoccupied spaces of your choice. Oh, barf, that's terrible. Okay, only good news is we got this faction token that we'll place out on our Citadel board, but I don't like having 2 devourers in our area. Oh, this would be horrible. I should have listened there, not at these things here. I'm going to place them here and here. They're on the land right next to me. Oh, and I don't have any actions left to actually attack this thing. Oh my gosh, this is bad news. Nobody has any actions. I think there's only one person actions, and he's super far away. I think we'll be moving over to the shadow phase at this point. I do have to put these 2 tokens out here because I think when you spawn them, they are going to come in with these on them, I believe. According to that card, it says, the Devourer says, put a Coral-born token under the Devourer. So we'll do that. And if not, it's not going to be the end of the world. Please let me know if that's wrong. We'll move into the shadow phase. That character still has 1 action left. I don't really know what to do with that character because I'm just kind of waiting my time to try to take on those blips up there, where all the rest of our characters have pretty much used everything they have. All their movement, all their actions, and yeah, that's about all I got. I guess this guy has 1 more movement point left, but he can't really do anything because he doesn't have any tile here. I could move off, but I'd take some corruption. I don't really want to do that, and I don't think there's any way to help him because he doesn't have any actions to be able to perform a action to get some of these light tiles back. Speaking of light tiles, there are none over there, so we're going to take our bag and put out 5 more. There's our 5, and we'll place them down here. Now, if you ever aren't able to draw any out of there, or you have to place them, you have to take them from the board and kind of put them in a new space. So you have to deal with the fact that you may be expanding your board too much, or you might be moving away from each other too far, because there's only a finite amount of these actual tokens. There are a ton of them, so don't get me wrong. I can't imagine you're going to run out of them that easily. Maybe later on in the game when you're placing down a lot of tiles. At this point, we'll move our token up 1. Oh, I forgot about this card. Shadows on lands receive +1 of their health value. I think this guy should have had 4 health. That's my fault. You'll probably find a pinned comment where a subtitle one actually defeated him. Sorry about that. But now I'll have to remember those 2 that are there on that land. Oh my gosh, that's horrible. They got 4 health. We'll flip this next card, Thirst. Immediately flip 1 singularity group from alert to danger side. Oh no, to the danger side? That's horrible. What it means when you have to flip these from alert side to danger side is these are 2-sided. I forgot these are 2-sided. This is the alert side. This is the danger side. So I should have had them both down on the board like that. That's my fault. But when you flip them over to the danger side, you're going to flip them to this side, and they're going to be potentially spawning, or they're going to be more of a nuisance, I should say. So I'm going to leave that one as the alert status one, and then the one down there where all our characters are, that one I'm going to still keep on the danger side. I put them down originally as both danger symbols. They should be both as alert. Now I have to flip one to danger, so that's going to be this one down there. Now at this point, we are going to roll our die to see where these all move to and see what happens. We've got the Omega symbol. That is the direction they're going to move. All of these shadows are going to move towards the middle part of this board. So we'll move those 2 that way, those 2 that way, and then these 2, one is going to move that way, but this one is not because he's stuck on here. So instead, he's going to move as close as he can towards trying to get to that citadel. So he's actually going to move this way. Since there's a coral piece here, it's going to jump the coral piece and move over there. That, I believe, is how the movement works on there. That's the end of the movement. Now we're going to generate our shadows. For each red singularity group, circular, triangular, square, roll the danger die. For each white singularity group, we're going to roll the alert die. Place the resulting number of blips in each singularity with the surrounding free spaces, starting from the one pointed by the arrow and proceeding clockwise. Starting with our danger one right here, we'll roll the danger die. It's a red die that has a lot more numbers on it than the other one. We got a 3. Now on top of the blips I have to place down, sometime during the campaign, we're going to have to deal with this. These are hyper shadows. We don't have to deal with them now because that's not part of our thing here. So we're just going to place down 3, and they have to be placed in the area where this is facing. So it normally placed here, but you can't have 2 blips on it. So I'm just going to place it there. You can't have more than 1 in a certain area. So we have to make sure we draw the right, there we go, 2. And then the other one I'm going to place in one of these 2 areas, I believe is how it works. We're going to place one right here. There we go, just like that. Now on top of that, this symbol here means you flip it over to the other side and you rotate it clockwise one direction, so that now the blips are going to be placed here in areas where they can. We'll go over to our other blip now, or I should say singularity, and see what happens here. It's going to have 1 and a hyper shadow. Again, I can't place it where it's supposed to go, so we'll just grab 1 and place it right here instead. There we go. Moving back into our turn, we're going to do the first part of our actions, which is going to be the production. So I get some Umbra. I'm going to actually give it to this person, so he gets 5. And I'm going to give the other Umbra to our Cyclops, who is now going to have 5 as well. Maybe I can pick up some really cool items that can help us out. Then we're going to recharge our facilities, refill our light shield deck, recharge our movement, and recharge our actions. So I've already done the actions. This person has no cards, so I'm going to grab 3 to bring him back up to his hand size. He was able to get Trailblaze the Unknown. During a plan action, take an extra tile from the bag. That's pretty good. Sight Adjustment. During an attack action, reroll the Scout die. Keep the new result. Well, that'd be really good. Lightstream Repositioning. Oh, that's going to be perfect. I need that. That's going to be fantastic. He got some fantastic cards. Now, this person didn't use all the actions, so again, gaining 1 more. This person only has 2 cards for a max of 4, so we'll gain 2 more. See what cards that person gets. It got the Lightning Surfer and a Fearless Leap. Move 2 spaces without spending movement points. One of the spaces must be dark. Oh, that's really cool. All right, lots of movement for that character. This character isn't going to get any more movement, but it gets all its actions back, and the amount of cards this character has is only 2, so we're going to get 2 more Light Shield cards. We've got Survival of the Fittest, prevent all damage from a single attack. That's pretty good. Charged Lux Emitter. Spend 2 Lux and 1 action to attack all enemies within X spaces. After this attack, move them 1 space away from you. That's going to be really good. Speaking of attacks, I forgot to have our enemies attack when they moved. Lastly, the Whisper is going to gain back the movement points and the actions, and has 4 cards already, or 3 cards already, so she's not going to get any new ones. Why does she have 4 cards? Oh, I guess I've been cheating. Well, that's okay. We'll just get rid of one of these. I've got multiples of the same thing. I haven't used any of them anyway, so it doesn't really matter, right? Oh, I think one was supposed to be in our discard pile to begin with. It was supposed to be the relocating technique. No, it was supposed to. Yeah, I think it was supposed to be this one. So I think this one's already supposed to be over there anyway. All right. If I've been carrying 4 cards around, obviously it doesn't really matter because I'm not even using them. I did forget to attack with that Devourer. The attack pattern for the Devourer is this location symbols right there, so it is actually able to attack me. So I have to roll the die and see what it does to me. Let's see, hopefully it's not going to be too bad. It did a damage point to me, which is fine. I'll take that in Lux, which is going to be, if we look at that character, it only does 1 damage. It's more of a tank type character, so I'm not too worried about it. I took that in Lux, which is only 1, and now we'll move into our actions. I forgot about the fact that these actually attack you when they're near you. I'm going to start with this character right here. I'm going to use a shoot action. I'm going to attack with this flash gun. It's going to cost me 1 action. I'm going to pay the 1 Lux, and we're going to overload this thing. I'm going to roll my die, see how we do, and hopefully I can do enough damage to kill this. Right now I'm doing 3, and it's standing on there, so it gets +1. So 3 plus nothing means I only did 3 damage to it. Oh, that's terrible. I was really hoping I'd be able to kill it with 1 shot. Now I do have, where is this card? I think I have a card that allows me to do this. During an action, re-roll the Scout die. Keep the new result. Well, it can't get any worse than what I just rolled. So let's roll the new one. Come on, we need a good roll number. Oh, -1. Really? It's a -1? Why is there a -1 on the die? That's terrible to have on the die. I want to see the plus ones. Wow, now I only did 2 damage. Now we are going to keep track of that. If we do not kill these creatures by the time they go to the end of our scout phase, then they heal every wound. But for now, they're only going to have, they're going to keep their damage. I'm going to have to roll my die here to see how much damage I did to my gun. Nothing. That's awesome. Now, I don't really want to use another action to shoot this because I really think this character can do the damage. So I'm going to pull this back and we're going to stop right there. Besides, I've got to use an action here in order to complete the objective. I think we might be able to do this light stream repositioning. That might help. Maybe I can do an illumination of, oh, I can do that. I can do an illumination, which can illuminate everything in this pattern right here. And I can place it just like that. Now, let's see here. It's going to cost me 1 lux going down to 4. And I can get rid of this. And I can then place a tile right here from there. And I could place another one here if I want. But I don't really know why I would place it there because I can't even get to it. So that's what I'm going to do with illumination. That's my second action. We'll move over to the Whisperer. The Whisperer has 4 speed, 1, 2, 3, 4 to right there. If we look at the weapon, it's going to need to spend 1 lux to fire, bringing it down to 6. And I'm wondering if there's any cards she has that could help her. I don't think there is. Spend 1 lux when another scout is attacking, and then she has her reposition card. I probably should have been discarding some of her cards to be able to get some new cards, but that's okay. We're going to shoot this guy and see how it goes. Come on, not that -1. That was terrible. Oh, there's the die I wanted. That's going to do +1 damage. So it's 2 plus the 1 is 3, which is enough to kill that. The Whisperer is going to gain 1 Umbra, and that is the first of our characters that are defeated. So we'll place a blue cube here to remind us. It does say to place them there so I can remember. I have to destroy 2 shadows to complete this mission. To take out this other one, I have a plan, but the first thing I'm going to do is use an action on this area here to be able to complete our mission. It says reach the land and spend 1 action. We are now done. We're going to reveal G and discard this. So we'll find card G. It says right here, you enter the settlement temple and find it destroyed. 2 luminary monks lie dead on the ground. One of them is with the last strength marked a tear of blood on the portrait of Patriarch Regent. Effect, whoever completed card E shuffles a disturbed card into their deck. Discard. Oh, that's terrible. All right. Well, I'm going to grab a disturbed card. Here's our disturbed card. It says when you draw this card, discard the top card of your deck and discard this card. Oh, that's terrible. So we're going to take that and shuffle them into this deck right here for his deck. That's awesome. Give him a truffle shuffle. Hopefully put that on the bottom. That's his action. Now, I do have 3 movement points. I'm going to move 1, 2, 3 back to here. I know it seems kind of weird. I've got a plan though. We're going to move that out just like that. 1, 2, actually I could go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And on top of it, I could keep on moving. The problem is all I have are these straight pieces, so I don't think the straight pieces are really going to help me. I'm going to move 1, 2. That's a free movement to come back here. And then 3 to right here. I think that might be our plan. Though I think if these guys move 2 spaces, no, I think I'll be okay. I don't think they're going to get to me. Who knows? Hopefully they don't get to me. That's going to be the end of his movement. He doesn't have any more movement left. I can spend Lux to allow myself to move some more if I want to. Now I've got a super tricky, sneaky plan. Remember I said this person was going to be in charge of killing these up here if they come down? I changed my mind. Okay, what this person is going to do is absolutely amazing. This person is going to do super cool stuff. I've got 2 Lightstream Surfer cards. The first thing I'm going to do is move 1, 2, 3 to right there. With my 5 speed, that's going to get me to 1, 2, our 5 speed, sorry, is going to give me 1, 2, 3. I'm down to 2 speed. Then I'm going to use both of these. I don't see why I don't. Move without spending movement points to a light stream tile connected to you within 4 spaces. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 to right there. That one's a free one, so I'm going to move to right there. Then I'm going to use my one of my other movement points to right here, which is going to move me down to 1 speed. At this point now, I'm going to play another one of these light speed cards that allows me to light speed surfer. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope, I can't do it. I'd have to spend 1 more of my speed points, bringing me to 0. But I can go 1, 2, 3, 4 to this one right here, because those are going to be move without spending movement points to a light stream tile connected to you. So that is a light stream tile and is connected to me. So I've played both of my light speed surfer tiles, which is pretty awesome. I didn't get to use my Fearless Leap, but that's okay. I do have this card, which I'm probably going to play. During an attack action, roll 1 extra scout die and choose the best result. That is what we're going to do, because for my second action, or actually for my first action, I apologize, is I am going to attack this guy and probably try to kill him with my Light Spear of Awesomeness, which does 3 damage. Let's roll our die and see what we do. I don't think there's any way I can miss this. Actually, now that I think about it, I'm going to keep this card. I don't need to play this card because I already do enough damage. It got +1, so that's 4 damage to this thing. I guess there could have been a problem. I could have gotten that -1, but I was able to kill this with my +1, and it only has 3 because it's no longer sitting on top of a land there. So I'm going to gain an Umbra for that, bringing my Umbra total up to, what, 4 for her, or 1 for this character? 1. I remember I bought something with that character. That's the end of the movement. I still have 2 actions again with this character. I'm going to put my Light Spear back. Now, I did have to spend 1 Lux to make that attack. I'm down to 7 with 1 vial remaining with that character. I think that's going to be the end of that person. But I did kill my 2 characters, so we've completed our goal again. It says here, reveal card F and discard. So we'll discard that. We'll reveal card F. It says here, it has been several cycles since you saw so many massive shadows around the Citadel. You must report back. Objective, all of you must return to the Citadel alive. If you completed card G, then you're victorious. Okay, so you did have to complete everything in order to do this. But now we just have to get back to here. That's it. Well, I don't think that should be too hard. I think I've got some cards that can help me do that even. Maybe. I don't know. I might have to go 1 more turn to try to get back here. We'll see how it all transpires. We'll start with him. He's going to be able to get back no problem. For 1 action, I'm going to do a plan action, and I am going to grab this one right here, and I'm just going to move 1, 2, 3 to right there, and 4 to right here, all the way in. Now, that's going to cost me an extra Lux, because our character does only have 2 speed, 1, 2, and then 1, 2 to get back. That character is safe. Let's see what we can do for the other ones. This character has 2 actions remaining. I'm going to use 1 to do a plan action, and again, I'm just going to grab I'm going to grab this one right here. We're going to grab this tile, and then I'm going to spend a Lux to gain 2 movement points. We're going to move to right here, which means I do have to reveal an event card. Hopefully this isn't going to be bad. We have found ourselves gain 1 Engineer's Faction token. Oh my gosh, I discovered an ancient mechanical artifact. That's awesome. So I'm going to gain 1 of those one of those faction tokens, and I'll place it down on our Citadel board. So we now have 2 of these. Then with the remaining, now I still have those 2 movement points that I paid for. So that's the first one here, and then the second one is going to be to right here. And I do have this tile that I've had in my reserve. We'll place that right here. And for just fun, I think it's going to be absolutely awesome. This person is going to use Fearless Leap, move 2 spaces without spending movement points. One of the spaces must be dark. This is the dark space I'm going to do. So 1, 2, right to there. That person is now safe. Let's see if we can get the other 2 back. I think we might be able to. This person does have 1 more light tile. Well, he has a couple light tiles he can use, and he has to spend 1 Lux to move extra spaces. So I'm going to spend 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Lux, and I'll be able to make it out without any problem. I'm going to take my tile here and place it right there. Now, actually, I don't need 6. I just need 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to get to there. That's going to be the plan. Let's take a look at our character. So that'll cost us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there would be nobody within 6 spaces of him, or 4 spaces of him. So he's close to running out of Lux. But remember, this is an intro mission, so the Lux really isn't much of a factor compared to if you get farther into the game. It'd be a lot harder, and you have to be more careful of the resource for your Lux. Our final character is the Whisper. The Whisper doesn't have any movement, but gains 1 for every Lux spent. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4. I have to spend 4. Bringing our Lux value down to 2, and all of our characters have made it back. So according to our card here, we have achieved victory. Let's check out what happens according to our story, and then we get to go into the development state. Base of the Plateau, the REEF Scouts General HQ, 422nd cycle, night 346, time 13. Maintenance report, General HQ. Section 83/22 showed evident coral formation. During the mission, the team was attacked by several shadows, specifically Type 3 large lurkers and devourers. We did not sustain any obvious damage, but this is the first time in at least 20 cycles that such large and aggressive shadows have been detected in the vicinity of the Citadel. We request further information on this and analyze the coral-borne material attached. Preserve the light. Team Nova. First level of the Citadel, Refugee District, 422nd cycle, night 346, time 9:32. It took us about an hour. It says here, desecrated completely. But who by? Demons of the night? We don't think so. For the light's sake, by who then? The monk paces back and forth. His eyes are protruding and his hands are trembling as though he were performing an exorcism. We have put everything in an unofficial report, which we have sent to the Scout Corps chaplain. If the luminary clergy feels it necessary, it will carry out investigations. You can ask your superiors about that. Your tone of voice is flat and formal. For our part, we can assure you that this was the work of humans. 2 guardian monks were killed. One had traced a tear in blood on the portrait of Patriarch S.H.E.O.L hanging on the wall. Blasphemy! Why do such a thing? Cried the monk, his hand clapped over his mouth in horror. We have no idea. It could be a message of some kind, or it could simply be that the monk was trying to escape and happened to fall against the wall. But why kill the innocents? The exiles are behind this, without a doubt, shouts the monk, who is beside himself. You have heard the news, haven't you? The terrorist S.H.E.O.L continues to threaten the Citadel, and no one does a thing about it. Even Patriarch S.H.E.O.L, in his latest sermon, failed to take a stance. In fact, he even said we should be praying for him. The luminary lowers his voice, knowing that what he is about to say is rather scandalous. If you ask me, may the light forgive me that Sean should be fed to the shadows, just like his ancestors were. The tales of Petra Sean belong in the past, Father, and that is where they should stay. All I can say is that we scouts have often had dealings with the exile settlements, and I have to say that the exiles are no better or worse than people here in the Citadel. Summerfield's men are not murderers, and he is driven only by political motives. He just wants to play a place for his people to explain firmly. You defend him? The monk is shocked. Didn't you hear what I said? We don't side with anyone. As far as we're concerned, engineers, monks, exiles, you are all the same. We're sorry about what has happened. But there is nothing more we can do. People die in the lands of the night. That has always been the way of things. You try to take your leave, but the monk holds you back. Wait, please. One last thing. My community has to know who killed our brothers and sisters. It's nothing to do with us. Ask your superiors. My superiors don't care what happens to the monks in the suburbs. We will pay you, he begs. You have to agree to help us. We will collect donations and... One of you grabs the monk by the collar. The cloth of his vestments, imbued with low-quality lux, glows slightly. Listen hard. There is no reward great enough to compensate for the risks we take out there. You have never been there. You have never seen the darkness devouring your comrades, leaving only their bones, or healthy men driven insane by the corruption slashing their wrists in despair. You haven't seen the abyss staring right into your soul. You push the monk toward the altar. Now stop bothering us. Go back to praying to your light. You go out into the wet streets of the slums looking for a tavern so that you can forget, at least for a while, the lands of the night, the slit throats, the dead coral expanse. The only sound is the voice of the monk crying after you, "Just you wait and see. You'll pray to my light when your own goes out." His words sound like a curse and would maybe worry you if it weren't for the fact that you already scouts. Looking at the way this book is set up, there are then lore areas here about Petra Sean and also the Lurkers, Devourers, and the Moth. And in our original mission here, there were some lore about the scouts themselves. I didn't read any of that because they're kind of longer passages, are hard to get on camera. But when you do play through the game, do take advantage of these lore excerpts so you can understand exactly what and everything is going on. At this point, we're going to gain our rewards, which are found out there, and we're going to do our unlocks here. It says you have just completed the first mission and earned some faction tokens and development points. You can now play your first development phase and spend them on acquiring new equipment and abilities. To do this, follow the instructions of the rulebook in the development phase section. You unlocked level 1 districts, level 1 weapons, lanterns, and accessories, level 1 advanced light shields, and Twilight and Forgotten Land printer upgrades. You unlocked mission 2 for the main campaign. And we also gained some tokens up here. We're going to gain 1 of these and 2 of those. So each of these different symbols have a different purpose. These are going to be our development points. Then the next one is our monk factions. And then we have our engineers and exiles. So we get 1 exiles and 2 monks. And remember, we gained 2 of these from our actual mission. And we gained 1 of those from our mission as well. So we have a lot of tokens that we can spend. Let's go into the development step. This is a panned out view of everything you're going to need for the development phase. I'll go over each of these in detail as we continue. First off, we have our miniature. This is not something everybody's going to have. This is something that came in the Land of Night miniatures set that was part of the Kickstarter. You may have this if you have an all-in pledge or if you even back the miniatures for this game. Next, we have all of our scouts here and their light shield cards that go along with them, and I've also put the weapons. These right here are the lands that we were able to scout. We were able to do the events on those particular lands. I have those 2 cards right here that we were able to go through, and that's important to have those because we do have to mark them off at the end, and I'll show you how that works. We also have our tokens for our characters that we're going to be using during this development phase. This is our status deck that we may be able to get cards out of our light shield deck and put them back in here so they're not going to affect us. This is going to be our district deck that is going to be building different parts here, which will be upgrading our miniature and making it look super cool out on that board. We also have our advanced light shield deck, our advanced item or weapon and lantern deck, and then we have our advanced printer decks right here. And all these are going to be part of the development phase because you can choose different parts of this to try to develop after each mission, and it will totally change the way each of these characters eventually perform. Do you want to go with better weapons and equipment, or do you want to maybe be able to buy cooler things while you're out in the lands of S.H.E.O.L? Or do you want to try to upgrade your Citadel to be able to gain some bonuses while you're out there as well? These right here are going to represent the amount of progress we have for our Citadel. At the end of our last mission, we were able to get 4 development points, and there isn't really a token or any way to track that unless you want to write it on a piece of paper, so I'm just using these tokens as an example so that we can see as we use them that they're going to disappear. We also have all of our faction tokens, the one we gained while doing our explorations, and also the ones we gained at the end of the mission, which was 2 of the, I believe it was the Luminary Monks and 1 of the Exiles. We also have 2 of the Engineer ones that we got while we were doing some of our explorations here. This down here represents some of the actions you can take during the development phase, and after you do one of those actions with your character, you're going to use your token and place it there to represent that that was the action that that particular scout got to do. And each person is allowed to do 2 things during the development phase. And if you have the servoids are also able to interact with this development phase, but they have their own special rules, and I'll let you read about them on your own. We have been playing with the 4 scouts, which I think is a way cooler way to do it. The first action we could perform is we could build new districts. It says right here it's going to cost us 2 of our development points if that's the option we wish to do. We then get to look through this entire deck and choose one that we think would help us the best. Each one of these is double-sided, and one of these is a passive event that's going to help you. For example, if we decide to scavenge trading posts, we can reveal an additional printer item when you perform a deploy printer action. Or we could use this one as well. Print an item with a discount of 3, minimum price of 0. Now notice this symbol here, that means it can only be used once. Then it is done. Where this is one that's going to be happening the whole time, it's a passive one. Once we decide to buy one of these, or if we decide to buy one of these, we'll place it down into the Citadel to show that we're developing our districts here. I think we are going to do this. I don't see any reason why not to. We're just going to have the Breathless do this. We're going to go here. He's going to use one of his actions. And of course, you can choose any of your scouts at any time to perform the actions. You don't have to go in order. It's whoever wants to do it can do the type of action. We're going to spend these 2 points. We only have 2 development points left, but now we get to go through all of these and decide which ones we want. So let's take a look at these. The other ones we have is Luck Foundry. The Lightstream Pool holds 6 instead of 5. That one seems pretty cool. We'll place that down here. We have a Scout Headquarters. At the beginning of the Scout phase, you may reveal a shadow within 3 spaces of this facility. The other thing we can do is we could select a land connected to your starting point by Lightstream tiles and deal them 5 damage among enemies on that land, which now this of course is a one-time deal, where this is something that we can build forever. It's going to be very similar to our Umbra extractor. It can be something that actually sits out on the board, and we can build these out there if we want to, and they're going to cost 1 action and 2 Lux in order to build these scout headquarters. The next thing is the Plateau Mines. When a shadow enters the discovered land, the shadow becomes revealed. That doesn't seem that bad. All these are pretty good. Until the end of the shadow phase, every shadow that is deals damage to a scout is revealed. I don't know about that. Ignore the first 2 damage dealt to the Citadel. That might not be too bad, but it might be something we're going to think of later. Guarded upper walls until the end of the shadow phase. Every scout ignores the first 2 damage received. Also, I want you to be aware, this symbol right here shows you what development point the Citadel is at. So all of our cards are only going to have this symbol. Eventually, they're going to have symbols like this, where it has kind of a bigger top, and eventually the very top. And that's only after you get the bottom part done or progress far enough into the campaign. The other ones we're going to be able to get is Vertical Prison at the beginning of the shadow phase. You may select 2 shadows that will not move or attack until the end of the shadow phase. That might be pretty good. Roll the scout die to attack an enemy in any space on the map. Deal 3 damage on a hit result. And of course, that's only will be used once. It's hard for me to choose those hit once, but you know, that could be the meaning of life and death at certain points. At the beginning of the shadow phase, each scout can discard up to 2 light shield cards instead of 1. Or I could choose 1 scout to discard their hand and draw the light shields up to their maximum. Oh my gosh, there's so many different things to choose. This is going to be super hard. Now, of course, at the end, I'll be able to at least have 4 of these. There's 2 in here that I'm probably not going to be able to develop. I guess I should say 3. I forgot about this one right down here. What's the backside of this one? When activated until the end of the scout phase, all light screen tiles placed adjacent to shadows are placed with their bright side up. I don't think that's going to be that big a deal. But of course, I haven't played enough to know maybe that is a huge deal. We'll have to see how it goes. I think each one of these is going to have a use at some point. I've decided to build this one, Vertical Prison. At the beginning of the shadow phase, you may select 2 shadows that will not move or attack till the end of the shadow phase. I think that's going to be pretty good, because not only that, I can use that so many times because it's at the beginning of every shadow phase. So I think that'll be really nice. Now, of course, there was the backside that I'm not going to be able to do. Roll the scout die and attack an enemy in any space on the map, dealing 3 damage. So I'm not going to be able to do that, but that's okay. I think that's going to be a neat one. After placing our card, we do also get to place something into the miniature, showing that we have built one of our districts. Of course, once we get all of them in there, it looks super cool, because we can just get all these districts all piled in just like this. Now, of course, we have to paint this thing up. I think it'd be really super cool to have this painted. I really want to get some like glow-in-the-dark paints. I think that'd be really neat. So these are going to go back out here. This might actually get painted with Turbo Dork paints, because those are some really cool shiny metallic type things. I think it'd look really neat on the table. All right, we've got 1 in there. Now we do have some more actions to do with all of our characters. The last thing we have to do is raise our development track up 1 for being able to put down 1 of our cards. Here's the rest of the actions we can do during the development phase. We've already gotten ourselves a building. I think we're good there. Let's take a look at some of these. One we can do is a Cure Scout action. We can spend 1 of these tokens, and once we do, we can remove 2 cards of these status effects from a Light Shield deck. We only have 1 in there right now, and I think it's in the Pioneer, so I'm okay with that one. The next one's a Scout Blessing. Now notice the symbol here is meaning it needs to be at level 3. So we can never do this until we get our Citadel level 3, or we get far enough in the campaign to activate this. The next one in here is also the same, except now it's to be level 2. And there's one over here for advanced training as well that we can't do. But most of the other ones we can. We could repair the Citadel by spending an engineering token to raise up our health by 2. We are at 10, so we can't go any higher. Next one is we can improve items. So all those items we were able to find, those patterns out there, we can improve those with upgrades if we want to. We can spend 1 of our exile tokens to shuffle these up, draw 2 from any of the 1 card deck we want. Then we can choose for no development points 1 card, or for 1 development point we could choose both of the cards we got from that upgrade deck. Now if you notice here, this symbol means we can't upgrade this until we get to the 3rd level. The next one we have is we can purchase new equipment. We can choose 1 of the tokens, and each token has its own upgrade deck. And again, I'm finding the upgrades that have to do with this symbol here. There are some with the level 2 and 3, so your characters are going to be getting more and more powerful as they go. Once that's shuffled up, we'll then pay 1 development point for 1 or 2 development points for 2 of these items, which would be pretty cool. The next one is we can train a scout, which again, we can spend any one of these tokens. It depends on which one we do. And depending on the token we do, we choose the kind of cards we want. So for example, if we did the engineering card, we would have our choice between these two cards. As you progress through the game and we gain more Citadel upgrades, we can gain more cards to have our chance at. Not to mention there's a specific mission for each one of the scouts, which is kind of cool, and they, I think, gain a card from that as well. So we could get one of these during the reveal action. You may place a light stream tile even outside your pattern as long as there's one connecting your position, or select an extractor connected to your scout to gain an umbra equal to the land's extraction value, just straight up. Or of course it gives you the ability to use these as something else, and giving them a negative cost to the Lux. And those are added to your deck, so your deck will begin to grow. In order to cull your deck, we have to get to at least level 2, and that's where advanced training comes in. You can remove cards from your light shield deck if you wish to. The last one down here is we have convert points. For every 2 tokens we spend, we can get 2 development points, and for every 2 development points we spend, we could gain 2 tokens of our choice. And it doesn't have to be 2 of the same token. You could choose any 2 tokens to gain those 2 development points. All right, whew, we got a lot of things we got to do here, but when we only have a little bit of stuff left to do, so, or people left to use and resources left to use as well. I'm going to use the Cyclops next. He wants some new equipment. The equipment's going to be good. I'm going to use one of my engineering tokens. I have 2 of those. Let's use an engineering token. Let's grab that deck. It's right here. Now, sadly, you can kind of see the back of the deck, so you know kind of what's in there. So you could sleeve these, which would help you, but then you wouldn't know what the front of you wouldn't know what faction it goes with, which is kind of sad. But that's okay. We're just going to have to look away while we do this and see what we get here. We're going to shuffle this up, and then we're going to draw 2. We got this one, and we have this one. All right, let's see which 2 we have. We have gotten ourselves a Vortex Whip or a Light Barrier. Now, I don't think I can use these. Oh, this can be used by a shield, and this one can be used by the stealth characters. So I could give the Vortex Whip to our Breathless if we want. It's an area of effect attack that attacks 2 different places, doing 2 damage, and it costs 1 Lux to use, or I can overload it for 4 damage. The other one is, look at this thing. Light Barrier. Put a break marker on this lantern to prevent all damage from a single attack. It does 3 damage. Oh no, it's not. It's not a weapon. It's a lantern. It's a lantern. So I'm able to get 2 during a plan action for 2 Lux. I can place them anywhere in front of me. That's absolutely amazing. And it even gives me a defense. I think we might give this to the Pioneer. Or we could give this to the Cyclops. Let's give it to the Cyclops because he's the one, well, first off, he's the one that did it. And second off, his light is not as good. He's got this right here, this impulse gun. Oh, sorry, not the impulse gun. He's got the gun torch. The gun torch only goes forward too. This way he could spray anything in front of him. And anything that attacks him, he'll now have that ability to dodge. So if that's ever rolled on the bad guy die, he's going to be able to dodge that, which is great. I'm going to go ahead and discard that. I don't think I get to sell it or anything. We're going to discard that. Now I'm going to have to pay 1 of our development points in order to get that weapon. And then this one's going to go back in the deck, and we might draw it later if we decide to use that same token to upgrade our thing again. Remember, you can do as many actions as you have tokens for. So Cyclops still has 1 more token. If he wanted to purchase another equipment, he totally could. There's no reason he can't. So that's pretty awesome. Let's see what we should do next. Let's train a scout. And I think we're going to use one of our faction tokens here to do it, and I think I'm going to have the Pioneer do it. He's going to go ahead and look at these cards. Maybe he's got a good one in here. We'll see what we got. Okay. We can either, during a reveal action, the shadows do not react. Or we've got, during the action, perform in dark space, gain 2 Lux. We're taking this one, and we're giving it to the Maynard because he's got that melee weapon. So if he's able to play this during the reveal action, the shadows can't. Oh, that's gonna be awesome because he always has those things reacting right next to him. Now I know I'm not giving the card for the person that did this, but that's okay. It's just that they're doing the action. I've got 1 more action token left here for each character, except for the Maynard. He's got 2. He's got 2 of these. I think he's going to try to, I don't know if this is a good idea, but he's going to convert 2 of these points. I've got 2 of these. I don't know if I'm going to use them. I've only got 1 of every token. Ah, darn it. What I want to do is I want to buy more equipment. But I'm afraid if I get something really good, I only have 1 development point left. So if I can convert 2 to 2, I might be able to buy 2 of these. Now, of course, the problem is I think we're going to do that. We're going to convert 2 of these into 2 of these development points. So we're going to now have a total of 3 development points. This is probably not the greatest plan, but that's okay. I'm now going to send the Cyclops down here again. Or Cyclops over here, I apologize. He's going to purchase new equipment. He loves equipment. We're going to use it from the Exile deck. We're going to do it from the Exile deck. Now, sadly, that means I am now no longer going to be able to do this ability right down here, but that's going to be okay. We're going to grab our Exile deck here, and we're going to, oh, you know what I'm going to do? I lied. I'm going to save this one. I'm going to spend the Engineer token here. Oh, no, I'm not going to spend the Engineer. Oh, it's so hard. There's so many things to do. Yep, we're going to do it like that. Because I could decide to train them again, and I could get 2 cards from the Engineering deck. Which ones are those? Scavenge, select an extractor connected to your scout and gain an Umbra. That's not bad. Or during real action, you may place a light stream tile even outside your pattern as long as they are connected to your position. That might not be bad either. All right, those aren't too bad. So I think we might upgrade our characters. Now, of course, that means I'm not improving my items out there because I need the Exile token to do that. But I think getting new equipment is the way to go. It sounds really cool. I'm going to give this deck a truffle shuffle here and see what we get. Hopefully it's some weapons and awesome things that we can use. All right, we'll give it a good old shuffle there and see what we get. We have found 1 and 2. All right, let's see what we got. We got a Coral Javelin. Oh my gosh. Put a break marker on this weapon to attack an enemy within 2 spaces. 3 damage. It's 1 to use, and it has an extra attack. That is definitely going to our character over here, who's got the, what's this, Light Spear. It does pretty much the same thing. Oh, its attack pattern is way better. Its attack pattern goes anywhere. You can kind of slice and dice there. All right, so we're going to get rid of that card. We're taking this card. That's going to cost us 1 of our points here. So we only have 2 left. We do have 2 left now at this point. Then we're going to, what is a bazooka? It's a bazooka. You can't go wrong with this. You can't move and perform an overload attack in the same turn. Not too worried about that. It does 2 damage, and look at that pattern. Oh my gosh. Who gets this? This goes to anybody with a gun. Oh my goodness. Okay, so the ones that have that symbol are the Cyclops, and that's it. Just the Breathless. So the Breathless doesn't need this. The Cyclops just got another upgrade. He's going to get rid of his Impulse Cannon, and he's going to blow people up with this bazooka. Oh my gosh, that's out of control. He can do 5 damage if he overloads this thing. Okay, that was sweetness. We're going to spend both of our points in order to get both of those cards. That was sweet. We only have 1 of these left, and we've used these 2 tokens. The only token we have left is that Engineering token, and we have 1 of these tokens. Now, I wonder if I should have tried to cure my character. I don't think so. I think we're going to spend this last token, and I think we might keep this development point. We don't need to worry about it. We'll hold on to development point. We're going to use it to, I guess, train the scouts. Let's get another card, huh? Why not? Cards are good. I like the one where I can move things around. I think that's going to be a really good one. Where is it? It's right here. During the reveal action, you may place light stream even outside your pattern as long as they are connected to your position, or get Umbra. I don't think the Umbras are that great. We're going to gain this card, and now I got to figure out who I'm going to give it to. I did still have some action tokens left to be able to use in here, but I don't have any tokens or development points, enough at least to be able to do anything with them. So that's okay. Maybe we'll be able to do some stuff next time we come back with the next mission. At this point, you're going to write everything down that has happened to you because it may affect the way the game continues to move forward. For example, the first thing we did is our Mission 1 campaign. We write down how many Luminary points spent, how many Engineering points spent, and how many Exile points spent. So we're going to write down all of those different tokens that we used. At that point, we're also going to write down the lands that we did. So, for example, like I said, I took these out because I'm going to have to write down that I did TB Exploration 1 and FF Exploration 1. And then I'm going to put these back in the box, and I will never see them again. They're removed from play. Also, if we ever completed any of our scout missions, we would be able to put a check mark in those. And down here is for our servoids. I am not going to be worrying about the servoids. If you ever decided to save your game, that's a totally different page. But I'm going to photocopy this, write everything out, so we'll be ready to go for mission 2. And here's the save sheet I was talking about, and this will help you, especially if you want to run more than one campaign at a time. You can actually write down all the different things that your characters have. For example, the level 1, I would now put in that I have the Coral Javelin, I have and things of that name. Holy Palm, maybe I should look for that one. That sounds pretty good. But anyway, we do have the new Lantern down here. We'll put that in here as well. So if we ever decided we want to do multiple campaigns, we could still reset this, and we'll have the ability to grab these out because it's all on our save sheet. It'll show us what our current weapons and everything are. That's really cool. I like it a lot. And on top of that, you could even do this, I believe, during the adventure as well, though I think it'd be a lot tougher to do. But it is neat to have this so that you have the ability of resetting it whenever you want to. So there you have it. That is the first mission in S.H.E.O.L. It was a very introductory mission. We got to upgrade our characters a little bit. We made it through the mission without much problems. I even got to explore a couple of the lands, which was really neat. I like the way the light tile system helps us move around. I think that's a really interesting puzzle to figure out. On top of that, I do like how much lore and exploration and missions that are in this game, as opposed to it just being a castle defense game. I think that is fantastic. If you did enjoy the playthrough, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so we'll see you know when more content comes out. Now that's going to be it for S.H.E.O.L here on the One Stop Co-op Shop. If you're interested in seeing more of this game, I'll be continuing the campaign over on my channel, Meet Me at the Table. The link to it will be in the description of this video. Please feel free to drop on over there and check out more of S.H.E.O.L as the game unfolds. Thank you so much for watching, and if you're excited to see what comes next, then I need you to meet me at the Co-op Shop.